Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very late night MCU Crew. It's 10:16 here in the Central Lands. For you guys, it's still early. Still like dinner time. It's 8:16. You both ended your streams, though. This is Bizarro World. You ended your streams to join this stream.
I know.
You said
I was
8 p.m.
playing Warhammer. I was having so much fun.
Hey, I hear that's pretty good.
Is that Total War Warhammer?
Hey, I hear that game's pretty good.
That Warhammer.
Wait, what were you playing?
Wait, we were both playing Warhammer?
Oh, yeah. Is that what was? That what's going on? Who were you playing as?
I was playing Chaos Gate, and you were playing Total War?
You were playing a different one. I was playing the Total War version.
You're all
Warhammered up. This is why you have to follow us. We got Warhammer Fantasy. We got Warhammer 40K. Whatever your Warhammer fantasy suits.
We were having a vibe.
There you go. I was watching Doctor Strange. That's what I was.
It's amazing.
Well,
to answer your question, Chaos Gate is fabulous.
I've heard it's great.
I've played of it so far. It's like XCOM meets Warhammer. It's so good.
I would be playing it, but I'm addicted to a different kind of love. Bronze, a hurtful love, a sting that really just it's a curse, is what it is. It's called League of Legends. All I do is just play League, and I hate my life.
No, you're right.
I went to bed happy once this week, and that was last night because I won.
League of Legends is the only game I play on my channel that actively pushes people away. I'm not kidding. Like, I've played a lot. I'm a variety caster. I play a lot of games. They vary in viewership.
Sure.
But I have a baseline that I maintain. League of Legends is the only game that actively pushes me very far below my baseline because people will not tolerate being in its presence.
So here's the thing. You have to lay the bait before the rats come to roost, Bronze. Okay, that's an ancient saying that everyone knows, obviously.
I didn't know rats roost, but I'm learning today.
It's true.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. Look it up. It's on the internet. It's out there. You have to stream League for like a week or two, and then everyone knows that you're a fucking degenerate, and they're like, yes, okay. I am also a degenerate. Let's crowd around.
You have to like build up that rapport.
And now if I stream something else, it's just like, nah, like, where's the League? I'm here to see some like degeneracy. So
no,
that's fair.
That's what's been going on my channel. We'll get to some Doctor Strange. We're gonna talk. We have a lot to discuss. We've got news.
We've got so much to talk about.
Moon Knight. We've got Doctor Strange, and then I've got a 8 a.m. flight. So it's gonna be a good time. I'm gonna really.
Is that your nice way of telling us to like not talk about
wrap it up?
No, minutes? I mean we're going until we don't need to say anything else.
Wrap it up.
I'm just letting you know this is my current situation. I've got coffee.
Notes. I sat there while the credits rolled and took out my phone and I took notes.
What?
We cannot do no edits.
Yeah, there's no spoilers
until we talk about Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
cannot talk about Doctor Strange.
I didn't give any spoilers. I'm just saying I took notes. I sat there and I was like, I need to write this down. I need to write things down while I remember them. I would never give a spoiler.
Man.
I'm just letting y'all know this is the first time I've taken notes.
I tweeted this. This is not a spoiler. I was great. I went into this. I went to the theater. I arrived at the theater with 0 spoilers. We literally opened the door to the theater, and I hold the door for a family to walk by.
Mm-hmm.
They literally say 3 giant spoilers as they're walking by.
I don't understand why people do that. And I will never understand why people do that. It's so rude. It's so rude. Wait till you get to the car.
I didn't say anything. I was. Mm-hmm.
I would have let the door go and let it hit him in the face. That's so rude.
I didn't want to say anything though because Aaron didn't hear him, and so I didn't want the spoilers to be, I guess, known. And so I just walked in very upset, got my caramel M&Ms, which are upstairs. I got my, medium popcorn and sat down, and I just sat there and ate my emotions.
Time out. Do you, Mr. Robot?
What does that mean?
In Mr. Robot, when they go to the movies, in a scene that I can't explain to you, he orders a popcorn. His dad orders popcorn and M&Ms, and then pours the M&Ms into the popcorn.
No, I didn't. No, we don't do that. These are caramel M&Ms. That would get way too messy. It'd be all I mean,
look, I don't know what the rules are. The hard candy shell protects it.
It might work. Anyways,
it does work.
Let's do some news. There's actually like decent news. It turns out Marvel turns up the marketing week of big releases.
You want to know what Bronze and I were talking about before we started the show? Ripped.
Oh yeah.
Yo,
Let's
Natalie
get to
Portman.
It. There it is.
So fucking jacked. I am.
Yeah, that's there. I mean, if you told me there was some CG work here going on, I'd have to kind of believe you. That looks insane. She's ripped out of her mind. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm so proud of her because we very seldom see we see dudes go through this transformation all the time. We very seldom see women do it.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of her. I'm so excited.
She's ripped.
Can't wait to see her kick ass.
She's so ripped that they gave her a belt for her muscles to keep them contained. That's a containment belt right there.
Hell yeah, it is.
That's crazy.
I want her to put me in a headlock.
I think a lot of people do. I don't think you're alone in that. Contain yourself, Jesse.
I'm contained. I'm just so impressed.
Do we need a belt for Jesse?
I'm so impressed by, she is, again, Bronze and I were talking about this before we started, her commitment to being in character and doing things to her body that not many actors are willing to do. She goes hard, and I appreciate that. There's very few actors who are willing to, actively physically transform for a role. Right. And she's willing to do things that in Hollywood, even the simple act of cutting her hair for V, she's unable to do certain movies for a long time. And she was like, F it. This is the role. This is what I'm doing. Let's go.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's great. So I've always loved Nat. She's wonderful.
Gonna steal from the chat here. Osriel626 says, from Padme to Chadme. I like it.
Damn.
I like it. Pretty good. That's
I love that.
Good. Yeah. She's ripped out of her mind. There's no question about it. I love that this came out this morning as well. They decided to blast this during the strange weekend. But hey, the outfits look great. I'm excited for both outfits. I think they both look great.
I know Christian Bale gets so much credit for this, but she should get credit too because that's all I can think of. When she so she shaved her head for V for Vendetta, and then she lost a crap ton of weight for Black Swan because ballerinas are ungodly skinny.
Sure, yeah.
And then she started taking ballet classes. She didn't do all the dancing in the film herself. Obviously you can't learn to go on point from training for a year. So she still had a stunt double, but she kind of does all the Christian Bale stuff. But I feel like she never gets her flowers. I hope this time with this photo, she gets her flowers because she deserves it. She tacked on some mass. I'm here for it.
She did. Yeah, she really did. It was very exciting to see this trailer, by the way, on the big screen. It turns out the louder you play Guns N' Roses, the better it is.
I mean, that's just true.
I had the exact same thought. I was like, why is this trailer so good on a big screen? It made me even more excited for the movie.
Yeah. I was very much there for it. It was also cool because there was definitely people in my theater that had not seen that yet. And so as the Guns N' Roses started to play, I saw some heads start to bob. They were feeling the music. I was like, okay, this is going to be a pretty good movie. I'm pretty into this. So that
I will say when I was at the theater, I noticed that as well, that it seemed like a lot of people were back in theaters for the first time.
Yeah.
And had been kind of out of it. Yeah, mine was pretty packed too.
It was busy.
Mine was empty.
When did you see it?
I went to the fancy theater this time, which I never do.
Ooh.
And the entire row I was in was empty, and the seats fully reclined and were heated and stuff. So I was in heaven.
We have
that's what I went to.
Yeah, we've got a weird situation where like seats recline, but the theater that you see it on is called a grand screen. And I think that's called a grand screen because they're wider than they are taller. And the image, what I'm trying to say is the image is definitely stretched. There's some image manipulation going on. And I realized that tonight when the credits started, and the credits weren't necessarily like actually set up. Or not credits, but the previews. Yeah, the previews started. And they were like a little bit weird. So I don't know if we're going to go to that theater anymore. We'll see. We'll see.
Yo, shout out to the XD Cinemark XD.
Oh, you went to the XD. Did you see it in 4D?
No, but I did see it in the like. The best part is the beginning. It's like, this is true black, and I'm just like, wow, that is a dark screen. Like, wow, that is weird. Certainly a great screen.
Ours says like this is Cinedyne, and then it just like blasts the fucking theater in there. It's like, this is so loud. It's so loud.
Great, yeah, they're like Dolby Digital, so it's like, and I'm like, yeah, it's great every time. And then there's the weird popcorn soda commercial that makes no sense.
Let's all go to the like movies. The screen song.
No, like the screen fills up with popcorn, and then soda pours down, and it's like, wait, did someone just put soda on their popcorn? Whatever they're saying, I don't know what it is, but they're like, join our like team and advertise on our screens. And I keep thinking I should. And why do I think this? Because now a block away is a giant ninja sign right outside my office.
What?
For ninja.
We should advertise MCU Crew
what is
in
on
Cinemark theaters.
What is he advertising? Himself?
It is, I swear to God.
Why have you not taken a photo of this? I want to see this.
Because I don't care enough, but I just thought about it right now where he's like, and then it says teamninja.com. I'm not even joking. I'm not even, it's just him on a billboard. And I'm like, if he can do that, I can be up on the movie theater.
I remember Critical Role did that. But,
yeah. Like, what if we did an advertisement for MCU Crew and we're just like, you're about to watch an MCU movie. Come see our takes that you will be mad at.
I think you pay per screen or per.
You do.
Like, it's expensive. Yeah. Well, I mean, we could look into it, but I think it's
come on. We could do like a thing that's like, welcome to the movies. Yeah. It's me, Jesse Cox, welcoming you to the movies. Yeah. And now to welcome you to the movies, it's Bronze. Bronze will be like, welcome to the movies.
This is a horrible commercial.
That's what they roll every time. There's always
a horrible commercial. And then I'll be like, now what do you think, JP? And they'll be like,
yeah, I'll just look
all
disappointed.
Right. Well, that's it. Yeah, and I'll just be like, thanks for coming to the movies.
I'll give you.
Now, be sure to meet Maria Menounos early for the 20-minute pre-show of advertisements.
Accurate.
Right,
no,
Maria?
I wish I had Maria Menounos.
We get Cheddar News at ours. We had to deal with Cheddar.
I wish I had Maria Menounos. Yeah. This weird bougie theater I went to didn't have any of the normal advertisements, and they weren't able to sell enough of their ad space. However, their food was delicious, so that kind of made up for it. But good. Because they were not able to sell all of their ad space, the same two ads played over and over and over again. One of these ads was this dude talking about like iconic lines before they were like became iconic, and it's just him flubbing 30 lines. So he's like dressed up as Gandalf, and he says, "I recommend you go a different way," and then like him saying like, "I don't believe you could handle the veracity of the situation," and "say hello to my friend from college." And it's just him doing all these iconic
What was
lines.
it for?
I don't even know.
Couldn't tell you. That's bad advertising right there.
That's what
watched
we should do.
This commercial. I counted 16 times because it was one of two commercials they had, and I was like, I don't understand. I just came early so I could order my food.
If we do a commercial
in the middle of the movie,
if we do a commercial, we have to do the radio thing where we just say MCU Crew as many times as possible in rapid succession for like a minute.
MCU Crew.
Yep. Over and over
and
over.
About this movie? Tell us on MCU Crew. Want to hear what we thought about Multiverse of Madness? MCU Crew.
Over, just nonstop.
What was the name of that website again, Jesse?
Yep.
1877 MCU Crew.
There you go.
MCUCREW.
There you go.
1877 MCU Crew. Subscribe to our streams today.
There you go. That's the jingle.
Come Cookie, I hate you.
Well, you got to stop doing that. Do you guys want? Did you guys get the Avatar 2 trailer?
Yes.
No.
I
I don't
No,
really.
that movie looks bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It was weird. It was a real weird trailer.
Also, are there like Avatar human hybrids in that?
Yeah. I think there kind of always are. I don't know. It looks bad. I'm not super into that. You know what I was
Tell me that the Avatar people and humans banged? Because that's not how it works.
No,
they don't bang. They got head tentacles for banging.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with Avatar 2. It looks fucking weird. It's a weird thing. That Top Gun trailer, though, still plays. Hell of a trailer. Love that trailer. Can't wait to see that movie.
We had that and Nope and...
Oh, we didn't have
Nope.
Nope.
What else we had?
I had Nope when I saw the other movie last week. It was pretty like PG-13, pretty like Disney-ified previews. But
yeah.
Anyways, let's jump back to the news real quick. James Gunn is done with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. They wrapped it up.
Done. Is the holiday special done as well?
That I don't know, because they were filming that as recently as last week. So I guess I don't necessarily know if there's any news of that. He put up some interesting tweets here. I'll read the tweets and then show you the thing. This was this morning. He says, after 100 days of shooting in over 3,000 shots, this is the slate for the final shot of hashtag Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, presented to me by the camera crew. It was an easy shot of Rocket seated, first with Sean Gunn and then nothing there, and took everything in me to not break down sobbing on the spot. The majority of the last 10 years of my life have been spent working on and thinking about the Guardians. Still have a long road ahead of me with VFX and editing, but it was still momentous to me. It is somewhat simple to explain to others how much I love this cast and crew. It is more difficult to explain how much I love these characters, that I see them as parts of myself and parts of these I love, and filming them and writing their words is a way of expressing that love. Again, I'll still be working on them over the next year until release, but shooting that last shot was a reminder of the warm impermanence of life and love, and how impermanence makes it so precious, so valuable, and is a good reason to be grateful for what I have right now. Anyway, the camera crew also stuck their hand-made camera lens caps on the back of this slate for me. Much love to you all. I'll show you guys those images real quick. It's cool. I guess every director probably has, emotional thoughts about all this stuff, but it's one thing to just think about that. It's another to read them. Seems like a pretty good, caring guy. That is the final slate that they
nailed it. 2 takes. Impressive.
Yeah, they got 2 takes. It was all good. And then here's the back of that with the camera caps. They're handmade camera lens caps. So, what is the middle one? I should know what that is. What is 89P13?
Not a clue.
Anyone in chat know what that is?
Is it the prison? I don't know.
Oh, maybe. That might be what that is.
I'm not that much of a super fan. I feel like I never pick up on stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. 89 pi?
Apparently that is Rocket the Raccoon.
Oh, is that his number? His designation?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. All right.
I did not know that, but now I guess I do forever.
Yeah, I didn't either. What else is there? Benedict Cumberbatch says that Doctor Strange 2 is his last acting gig for a while. He just wrapped up a pretty crazy stint. I think that's 2 Marvel films, Oscar season, a Netflix movie, which he recorded at the same time. So what was that, 3-4 movies, plus like the entire award season, which is also just crazy, getting out there and doing nonstop interviews and press junkets and all that stuff. So he's going to get a little bit of a break, but it looks like he's still going to retain the Doctor Strange role if the Doctor Strange will be back, is anything to say at the end of the movie. And then speaking of Doctor Strange 2, it's looking like it's going to be a little bit over 200 million in its box office opening weekend, matching the opening weekend of Black Panther, which is kind of crazy. Jesse, you were talking about people going back to the theaters. Seems like they're back. I mean, that's a crazy opening.
Yeah.
If we're getting back to those numbers. I don't know if that's I mean, I know that number is nationwide, but I do think some movie theaters in some places have not necessarily like fully filled up. But Jesse, you saw it in like LA area. You said it was filled, right?
I mean, yeah, it was pretty filled. I have no idea. So I sat in the balcony area, so I have no idea what it looked like below me.
Okay.
But my area was fine.
You have a balcony at your theater?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? That's wild.
It's LA, bro. We got big ass theaters.
That's a huge ass theater. Yeah.
It was big.
Bronze, you're in the I want to say you're in the Seattle area, but I also don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty packed. Pretty.
Mm-mm.
Well, oh, yours was not busy.
Mm-mm. It was empty. My entire row was empty.
Okay. You were at a bougie place though, so that might be.
Yeah, but our bougie places are always packed. Like, because, Microsoft, Amazon.
True.
So I'm surrounded by like bougie nerds. Like the number of Teslas in Seattle alone will absolutely floor you. There's just this like huge, the Venn diagram is a circle between affluent people and nerdy people that work at some tech company here. Cause we've got Bungie, we've got Valve, So odds are most movie theaters are packed. That being said, I did go to the later showing because the one before was packed. So I went at a 9:00 showing. But it was also Friday night. So I don't know.
That's true, yeah. I mean, Friday should be pretty busy. So, Jesse, you were opening
I had
night,
to go
right?
by myself, and I was worried. I was like, "Am I gonna look strange being there by myself?"
No.
God bless being in Microsoft country. There was like 40 nerds there by themselves, and I felt I was like, "Okay, good."
When I lived in Plano, which is near Dallas, Texas, or kind of actually is Dallas, Texas. Anyways, I would go to the theater at like the earliest showing. Usually it was 10:45 on Fridays. It's the best time to go see the movie, and it's also like the best thing to go see a movie by yourself. It's great. Everyone should go do it every once in a while. It's a very good experience.
I do it frequently. It's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
The only reason
I with friends, but like whatever.
Is because it's very simple. I am a joyless creature, and I don't like children in my movies.
Yeah.
Well,
I used to not care. I used to be like, well, MCU is like for everyone. But then after having situations of kids running back and forth down the aisles,
sure,
and realizing not in India where someone will smack you like that. Sorry, don't do that in India. You will get smacked. I was after having that situation, I was like, I have no longer desire to watch films with children present. I don't like them. The one benefit of not having any of my own should be that I should be allowed to see. And then I discovered the hack. You go to a 21 plus movie theater.
That's correct.
And there's no kids running up and down the aisles.
That's correct.
It's magical.
That's
a really good feeling.
That's indeed.
And there's no teenagers that are like, I'm going to try to impress my date by being rowdy. Like, no.
That's correct.
Number one, you just look like a fuckboy. You're not impressing anyone. Number two, I will not shy away from embarrassing you in front of your date. If you're throwing popcorn at the screen, I will roast you in front of her, and then you'll never be able to look at these people again. Your 13-year-old self-esteem will be crushed. Don't throw popcorn at the screen during my Multiverse of Madness. You'll die.
Damn. Bronze is cold.
Cold.
Yeah.
Listen, Justin, this is why I go to the 21 plus movie theater.
Cold.
I don't want like hooligans. Hooliganery.
I agree. Me and Bronze are simpatico in this. We went and saw a I think it was actually Black Panther. I went and saw Black Panther. We had a role play show going on where people flew down. We went and saw it at a draft house, and I was sitting next to Zeke, and Zeke was talking a lot during the previews. Mm-hmm. And Zeke tells the story a lot, which is why I remember it so clearly. Because he thinks it's like a serious thing. I don't know why he tells us so much. But during the previews, after he was talking a bunch, I tapped him on the shoulder and leaned over and said, if you talk during this movie, I'm going to lose my fucking shit. And then I just didn't say anything after that. And he didn't say a single word for the entire film.
If I say that, JP, people are like, Bronze is scary. Bronze is so mean. Listen. You need JPs and Bronzes. Otherwise, your movie going experience gets ruined. You need us. Unitas.
I will when we talk about Doctor Strange. I have an experience that happened tonight where.
Did you tell someone to shut the fuck up, JP?
Nope. I'll tell. It was actually the inverse where someone was talking and I actually I thought it was funny. But we'll talk about it during the show or during the recap. Let's talk just the Moon Knight. Moving along. There's not that much news. Doctor Strange, Moon Knight wrapped up as well this week. That's kind of the big deal. Let's all do our gladiator. Put your thumbs out. We're going thumbs up, thumbs down.
Is this for episode or whole series?
Episode.
Oh, that's hard.
Put your thumbs out.
For this episode, easy.
Okay.
Easy.
Bronze, are you thumbs up, thumbs down? I thought we were gonna do it, but Jesse just did it. I'm thumbs
no,
up.
I'm in the middle. For this episode specifically?
Jesus. We're split.
Easy.
I thought Bronze
For this
was gonna
episode
be the
specifically.
Jesse, of all the people, I thought you'd be into this. What you do? What is going on?
It was exactly what I thought was going to happen. It was too rushed. I thought that they had so much to get done, and I think the way that they did it felt a little rushed. I'll be honest. Even though I appreciate the Jake reveal at the end, them cutting to a flash like the first episode during the final battle is a literal slap in the face. I hate it. I've never been more upset at Marvel. I was like, that sucks. Because most of the time, I'm fine with Marvel not doing the Marvel thing where they like go over the top and like, have dudes running at each other down pyramids or whatever.
Yeah.
But that part, I was a little upset because then it was like a bunch of cool shit just happened there, and we're never gonna see that. It'll never happen. And they saved, I don't know. I thought it was rushed. But
Jesse, I have to ask.
I like the entire series. So
I have to ask.
All right.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Is this a man in the ocean moment? Seeing these two titans the size of the pyramids of Giza fighting each other. Is this a man in the ocean moment? I'm curious about your take.
Because no. I don't think so because they hinted earlier in the series that Khonshu and the other gods don't want to be seen unless they want to be seen.
Right.
And the wolfmans that showed up were invisible unless they wanted to be seen.
Right.
Yeah, the jackals. So my assumption is that some crazy shit was going on and people were freaking out, but no one saw a giant alligator fighting a giant dead bird. I think that's what. So that I was fine with that.
Yeah.
I was like, that didn't affect me at all. I was just like, I think the overall series was fun. I think that the last episode they tried to do like Marvel moments, and they tried to also do like Layla's storyline, and also wrapping up a storyline with like the asylum storyline, and at the same time tried to continue on with what Hera was doing, and at the same time tried to be like, and remember there's another person, and then like there's just so much that needed to get done, and I don't think, in my estimation, it was done in a way that I was like, well, I'm satisfied with that.
Right.
But overall, the series was fine. It isn't like the worst one they've done, but I was just like, all right, I hope we get a season 2, and I hope season 2 is the better parts of season 1. So if you're gonna go weird, if you're gonna do a cutoff of like time, it's very strange to me that they would do it that way. It was like during the final fight that it would end up that like that. It's neat, but that wasn't the flow of the show. If that makes any sense. If it was more like episodes 4 and 5, where it was weird and trippy the entire show,
right?
Then I'd be totally down with them pulling a jump cut during the fight, because like the fighting was never what it was about. But it's very obvious that this episode was about the fighting, right? Like a giant thing was thing, they were fighting on the pyramid, like that kind of shit. And so I was waiting for a showdown, and we just didn't get one. And it was like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
I get that. I think the episode was balanced though, because we got the fight scene of them just fighting people and like swapping between the two, like Mr. Knight and Moon Knight. I thought that entire
That was
sequence
cool.
was
I thought that
fantastic.
was that was very good.
And I think it was like ballsy is the word that I'm gonna say, when they cut the like actual big fight out and it was just him, you know, it was Jake stepping in doing what Jake does, which we don't really know what that is, except just like destroying something.
I think
they like
I
stuck
think
to
that's
it,
what
and I could see how that could be upsetting. I 100% understand that.
like we don't have the problem is like up until that point we never had a Jake moment.
Right.
So a moment like that where they do like a it like cuts you out of the action of what's going on and you're left like what the hell? And it's not a good what the hell. Like it isn't
It's
like it's jarring in a way that is unexpected, and I don't know. I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of that bit.
I think it's only it if they're not planned yet. They haven't announced anything. This was a limited series, so we probably will never see season 2. But I think if we do get a season 2, then those scenes will work because they're gonna definitely show all that stuff. They could do the entire first 10 minutes of like, oh, here's where Jake took over the entire first season.
They
Right?
don't
Like we
have
could
to.
see that.
I just think it's bizarre that we like here's a great example. So I watched a lot of people react to this show.
Yeah.
Just because I want to see what other people's thoughts were. And everyone thought the same thing you thought, which is whenever Oscar Isaac would be like, "Hey, I don't know, let's get out of here, Steven." Like he had this voice, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's Jake," because he sounds like he's from.
Yeah. You don't think that ever was Jake?
It never was Jake. It's been confirmed it was never Jake. It was just Oscar Isaac doing Mark, but like differently. But it was never confirmed that it was Jake.
So we never saw Jake at all, even when he had the busted nose?
I thought, I mean, I don't know about the busted nose. I just know the voice isn't. Again, it's
hard to say.
One of those things where I feel like there's a lot of show here that seems unnecessary, but I chalk it all up to the first 2 episodes of a lot of like setup in order to get weird. And the weird was fun. I loved the weird. So I don't know. I'd like the series. I just thought it was, rushed at the end, but I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, the Marvel tends to rush the Disney Plus shows. One thing that we haven't mentioned yet, because we're focused on that, the split thing. I thought Layla's like story finale, whatever you want to call that. I thought that entire thing was awesome. And I think she has actually like one of the best suits in the fucking MCU. It was kind of corny when she like pulls it out. I thought that was kind of weird when she like does the wing reveal. But when she was fighting and all that, I was like, oh shit, this is badass.
I hated the wings.
The wings reveal looked dumb, but
because
in
they
action
remind
looked great.
me of a movie I hate. It reminds me of Wonder Woman.
Oh,
and I hate that
think,
movie.
I think it was done on purpose.
Could have been.
No, but it just it I'm probably being unfair, but it was just annoying at the time to be like, oh, these have been tainted now because that shitty movie with those shitty fucking gold wings, like.
Yeah, but I mean, of course they're gonna go gold, right? Like it's an Egyptian super. They
could have gone blue. Like Tavara wears a lot of blue and green. They could have done like blue with like gold on the edges of it or something.
Yeah.
But other than that, I did really like her costume and I did really think she was awesome. And I think it's awesome she's an avatar of Tavaret.
Yeah, I loved all that. I thought of it. I was not expecting that whatsoever as well. I kept thinking that she was going to become Moon Knight for like, I don't know, 10 minutes or 5 minutes of that episode. That Khonshu was going to take that.
I didn't think that because of something Khonshu said at the temple when he says your mind is perfect. Like you're a perfect avatar, like because he's broken.
Right.
I in that moment clocked that like, oh, he is like seeing through Mark right now, and he's understanding that like one of you, like I could always probably manipulate into being my avatar.
Jake wants to be, apparently. That's his vibe.
Yeah. Like I think he knew then, like, oh, I can like make you do horrible things and not have to worry about you remembering it because that was an issue he ran into with Harrow.
Yeah.
Arrow even says like, "Oh, when I'm successful, just know that like what you put me through, that's what allowed me to like get there." And I
Right.
think he's like, "Well, this is perfect because I can like have 2 of the personalities do fucked up shit and the 3rd will never know. And so I can just do this forever and never have to deal with like the repercussions of it, essentially."
Yeah. Yeah.
That being said, Khonshu's still kind of a piece of shit because he'll also just like
I'm
drop
and I'm
Mark in
glad.
a second
I'm
for
glad he
Layla.
wasn't redeeming, man. I was so
Yeah.
worried that they were gonna like Disney it up and be like, Conchu's got a chip on his shoulder, but he's not a. No, he's actually just a piece of shit.
Yeah, that last scene, the last scene was great. Like
it honestly
the
saved.
post credit scene, so
It
good.
made me want to go to bat for the entire rest of the episode because that post credit scene was so good. It was very good. The second he put his hands and I saw the baseball cap, it's like, this is Jake. Like, this is the big reveal. It's happening. I didn't know what we were doing. I didn't know why we were putting him in the back of a car. But yeah, I really hope we get a season 2 so they can flesh that out. I think the finale will only get better if they flesh it out. But you know, maybe one of the reasons that we didn't see Jake was because he's actually like too brutal, right? Like he might be like too rated R for what Disney can actually or wants to actually do with their IP.
That's very possible. I mean, that's the whole idea of when you snap out of it, there's like bodies and blood everywhere. So
I mean,
probably
he's
what it
brutal
is,
as
it'd be.
fuck.
I mean, it makes it like it checks out. I just the last episode, I don't know, man. It just didn't like. I liked a lot, but it just didn't get there for me.
Yeah.
But the entire show, I was like, I'm glad I watched that. That was a good one. So
Definitely.
I
I
don't
don't know.
understand why it wasn't longer.
That's
Like,
what
do
I'm.
they have a
Yes.
budget constraint? Like, what's going
Yeah.
on?
We got to
Like,
do 9 episodes, 8 episodes. We talked about that
going
last time.
into it, I was like, looking at the length, I was because what was the runtime? Wasn't it
It's
like 45 minutes?
40, 43, 45 minutes, something like that. Yeah.
43, 45 minutes. Is that with or without the end credits and stuff?
I think that's with. So it was probably like 39, maybe.
Without, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Short.
yeah, that was annoying to me. I was just like confused on like it's Disney, they have money. It was just weird where I was like, make this why make the finale so short? Like when
Yeah.
you have so much to cover.
There
Um,
needs to be a happy medium. I think if you look at like
yeah.
what Netflix shows were, those were almost too long in a lot of cases. So much so that you had like a story arc
I
halfway
know.
through.
I sat through
You watched
Iron
all Iron
Fist.
Fist, yeah.
They were very long.
They could do like 2 story arcs in one season of Netflix. There's got to be a medium between like the Netflix formula for what they did with their shows and the Disney Plus formula for sure.
Yep.
I would love to see them go up to 8 episodes or whatever. I guess is Secret Wars the next, because we have Miss Marvel and that's already been announced to be the normal formula, I think. So I guess Secret
She-Hulk?
Wars. Oh yeah, She-Hulk. That's right. Yeah. She-Hulk and Secret Wars. Make them longer. Give us like 8 to 9 episodes. That would be good.
I wonder if they want to make the investment like minimal.
Time investment, you mean? Probably.
Yeah. I wonder if they're like, oh, we're gonna do like really short seasons, so that way people that don't want to watch them, they can just go see the movies and know what's what because we need to be able to recap it in 90 seconds of on-screen time.
Yeah, or a sentence like they did. But we'll get to Doctor Strange in just a sec. Because they did that in about 9 seconds or 9 words. What about the other thing we mentioned, the big fight? I feel like a Power Rangers episode to me when they were fighting behind with like the giant Conchu, the giant alligator behind, and then you had like the small scale. It felt like I was watching a Power Rangers episode in kind of a good way, but it was also just like, this is wild. Like, I can't believe this is how they went. It was a little, I guess, shocking is the phrase that I went.
I mean, it was like full Marvel. It was, and that's like, I'm here for it. I know people they complain because sometimes it's formulaic that the final episode of everything is like over the top. I'm here for it. I love over the top shit. Give it to me. I would give me all the Egyptian deities, giant and loving it, and swinging tails and wings and claws, give it to me. I want it.
Yeah. Pretty wild to see that. Otherwise, though, short episode. I think that we covered like kind of all the big moments with it. I love they gave Mr. Knight like his own, like Steven had his own, I guess, style of fighting. They like interweaved between the two, where like he threw his things at the wall and then Moon Knight caught it, and like that was really cool. The choreography is really good. All of
I
it
will
was,
say
that stuff was
the
interesting.
best moment. This is how you know I'm a giant lore nerd. The
Okay.
best moment of the show for me is after Harrow walks into the tomb and like steals the souls of all of the people that are
The avatars.
other avatars.
Yeah.
After that moment when Mark and Steven are in the like desert sands slowly like turning, to me, I love the little added bit of like, oh, they were saved by another god. When the door
Osiris,
when
right?
Osiris,
Yeah.
when the door opens and like the white light between their hands, that was like Osiris, because he can resurrect the dead, and he was just like, I got this. Frankly, that little tiny thing for me was so that I was like,
a small little nod to
I love that kind of shit.
Yeah.
It was great. I love that. So
it's kind of weird that Layla went in, saw Khonshu as like a figure, but then didn't grab any of the other figures.
I mean,
like,
look,
that's
if we're gonna
classic
get,
Marvel.
I mean, who knows what else like she would have unleashed though?
That is very true. I mean, some of those gods might
Because
be in
the
there for.
Ushabti, one of them is like Amit. Who knows what the other ones are and what they've done?
Yeah.
I had that
she
thought
would
too. I was
know.
like,
She would know though.
you would know. I was like, I was having
Somewhat.
that thought where I was like, yo, if I was Layla, I would have cracked all of them. I really would have. I would have like been like, whatever, let's go.
Fuck it. Let's get some
you can't
chaos
ask
in there.
questions like that, though.
measures. Huh?
Yeah,
can't
no,
do
that
that,
goes down
though.
a bad path. You're right.
If you do that, you have to ask the same question of why, when Talret was digging through the heart, was she like, oh yeah, there should be a third one here? Like, like there's you can't ask too many questions. Because once you do, like, you're telling me the god didn't know that there was another personality trapped in the room back there?
Oh no, she had to know because they're in the coffin like 2 feet away.
Exactly. Yeah. And so like the whole idea of balancing yourself, if you think about it, that shit makes no sense if you exclude a third person.
I was thinking of that too. I was like, how can your scale be balanced if there's this third personality you have yet to reconcile?
Yes.
But then I was thinking, they kind of put this emphasis on like, it's about you. Like, it's about, do you accept that you're a good person?
Yeah, that's the way I interpreted it. Yeah.
So because neither of them are aware of the presence of Jake, therefore their scales are balanced because they don't know that he exists.
Yep. Yeah,
that was my thought.
It's up for interpretation.
But also,
in that sense.
I think there's some willful ignorance there because they're blacking out. They know that neither of them is in control. They must have some theory on who is. And they saw the sarcophagus with the banging, looked at each other, and then moved on. Now, if you just let Mark Spector out of one of those coffins, you gotta assume that there's someone else in this coffin that might need your help. And Mark just came out of a sarcophagus and didn't say anything. Like, they look at each other and then they close the door and move on. It is very much like, oh, this is a third personality. Let's pretend like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There is some like willful ignorance there of like, I pretend I do not see.
And that's what I thought. I mean, I thought the idea of her saying, go back in there and like set yourself straight. I was like, oh, there's a entire room with a whole set yourself straight component to it. And they did not go back in there at all. Period. So, I don't, I mean, there's a lot. If you start to overthink it, you're like, wait a minute. So I don't. I choose not to overthink it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think that's it. Yeah. I don't know.
Overall, I just thought it was kind of mid. Like, I liked a lot of aspects of it. And I think the show had a lot of amazing potential, and I'm happy that they took some of the big swings that they took, and they weren't afraid to have 2 giant gods battling with the pyramids as a backdrop. Like, I liked a lot of
Sure.
stuff about the show. I like that they weren't afraid to establish, like, a new character. I know that we all kinda clocked that, like, Jake was gonna be the 3rd personality and that there was definitely a 3rd personality, so I don't really think that was a
Yeah.
twist that was hidden.
From
I think
episode
we knew
1.
that from, like, episode 1, yeah.
Yeah, but the
Um,
phone Easter egg was the first reveal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just very obvious, but I didn't necessarily think Layla was gonna become an avatar of Tavaret, and I think that's kinda fun. I
I
think
thought
that's
that was
kinda
great.
neat.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think it's like I do like that I feel like much like Loki, they weren't afraid to, like, make changes to the greater universe, like, it didn't feel because sometimes with Falcon and Winter Soldier, I felt like they were like, "Well, we can't make too big of a splash because
Yeah.
movies," you know?
Yeah.
This one, I didn't feel like that. I feel like they were like, "No, let's tell a whole story." I just I agree with Jesse in that, um, it like, it just feels like they ran out of money because of the amount of things they tried to do in the last episode. It feels like they just like, did they run out of time? Did they run out of money? Like, what happened here? Like, that last episode, I feel like should have been longer,
Yeah.
and then the post-credit scene even, like, normally the post-credit scene is like, "This is a neat little thing that might come up later," instead of like,
Mhm.
"Bang!"
It was
Like,
fan
this is a
service.
huge yeah, it
Yeah.
was a lot for a post-credit scene. I was like, I feel like this should be in the episode, like, not in
It
the
was big fan
post-credit
service.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I love post-credit scenes, don't get me wrong, but, like, a lot of times post-credit scenes are like, "Here's a cool little thing that might happen," not like, "Here's that satisfying moment you didn't get during the episode."
A great example is everyone I watched who, um, was doing react stuff on YouTube. Every single one of them was pissed that the show ended with him getting out of bed and, like, falling. They were like, "Wait, what?"
Right.
Every single time. And I feel that to my core because I do not like that
I did
ending at
too.
all.
No, I got actually really mad. The post-credit
It
scene
was full
saved it
circle.
for me. Yeah, the post-credit scene saved it for me, but I don't think that
Right.
should have come from the post-credit, if that makes sense.
I complete
Like
that that's I completely agree
yeah.
with you. It
If I
should have
didn't
been
get the
the
post-credit
final
scene,
scene of
I
the
would have been
show.
livid. I would have been
Mhm.
livid. Because, like, it's so obvious to anyone watching that there's a 3rd personality. It's annoying that they're not acknowledging it, but it's such a central part, such a central plot device, and yet they're just like, "Oh, what could it be?" It's like, we all know. We
Yeah.
all know.
Yeah.
Please, for the love of God, just give us the Jake reveal. "Oh, who could it be?" We know. Everybody knows. We all know there's a 3rd personality. You have 3 masks in the post-credit thing,
Yeah.
phases of the moon. Come on, guys, come on. We know. Just fucking show us. And, like, having a blackout during the final scene and still having no resolution on that,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
that was a
it's
bit much for me. That was a bit
I
much for me, where I was like, "This should be where you pay off like, we get some kind of
the
payoff."
payoff. Yes! Where you see Jake, like, do Jake's thing, you're like, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's way worse than Mark." Like, that would have been
I
a
think
great reveal.
see but again, I go back to the idea of one, I respect the director because it's ballsy to not show that. And two, I think what they're trying to say is that Jake is so violent that they literally cannot show what Jake does on Disney Plus.
But they could have done something like when instead of Layla being like, "Whoa, what was that?" They literally could have just like camera to like slowly pan to Layla, and all
Mhm.
I have to
Oh,
do
and
is
just
those shadows of
let the
like
things happen.
Or,
yeah, let
Sure.
her act and
There's
let
other
like
ways
the
to do it.
background be chaos.
oh,
Yeah.
what's it called? The Jesse, you'll know. Cameo. They could have done it cameo style and did it like a silhouette or like a shadow. So
Yeah,
you
yeah, that's
just
what I'm saying.
see
Like
blood flying and you see people
it's caught up
dying,
on
There's
her,
different ways they
but
in the
could have done it for
background,
sure.
yeah, but
and like you can see
technically
like a
that's
body rip, but like the
PG-13.
shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they could have done like a shadow or like a reflection in Layla's eye or just had her reactions and you just hear sound and you see blood flying because we know that he gets really bloody when he's in that mode.
Yep.
And, like, that would have been perfect because we have Layla right there. We could have had her POV
I think,
of
yeah.
her, like
I think
of
just
her
as
just, like you just hear people dying and being completely eviscerated, and you don't see any of it.
Like a slow look up on her face, and then just her face slowly turning to like horror, disgust, and then it zooms back out, and Mark goes, "I don't know what that was," and then the episode ends. I'd be super
like she can say like Mark or shout something where then cut to him with the axe on Harrow's head, like he's about to finish him off, and it's like, oh shit, like that. The scene can still end where it ends. It's just the flash in that moment I felt was like a huge cop out, and I will always feel that way because it could have been so great.
Well, y'all know my stance on those cuts from episode 1. I didn't like them.
The cuts were always weird, but
I never liked them.
I think the reason we saw another cut is because the audience already understood what the cut was. I think that's why it was there. Like,
I just wish they had found a different way to visually represent Jake taking over than that zoom in cut. I don't like it.
We're going to talk about Doctor Strange, but I'm curious to see what you thought of some of the choices in that, because that was, I mean, the Moon Knight stuff was straight up stolen from Sam Raimi. So we'll see what you think about Doctor Strange.
JP, JP.
Anyways, hey, we can talk about shots. We can talk about shots.
Moon Knight conversation.
Yeah, I think we're good though. I think that's the Moon Knight.
So is it season 2 confirmed?
Nope, not at all. In fact, it's not. I would say they straight up called this a limited series. So,
but they did in the last week change it from series to season. So
that might also be an English thing, because
I mean,
a lot of people are like, oh, they have to test the waters because Moon Knight isn't mainstream. Fam, none of these characters are. Like, they kicked off the MCU with Iron Man. Do you think Iron Man is mainstream? As a longtime comic fan, I can assure you, Iron Man was not the most popular Avenger. It was the Hulk. By a long shot. Not even close. Not even close. Spider-Man is mainstream. Is Guardians of the Galaxy mainstream? No! No! They're not. That's why they could actually take so many liberties with their origin stories, because nobody knew who these characters were. In fact, when they announced they were making a Guardians movie, y'all should have seen my freaking reaction. I was like, with the tree, with the raccoon from a planet with crazy clowns. Like literally, he lives on a planet with the loonies, which are the humans, and there's crazy clowns, and he has to help them. And he has an otter as a girlfriend, and an evil rabbit that's his enemy, and a walrus who can change out his tusks with other weapons. When they announced they were making a Guardians film, I was like, I'm sure they're going to take liberties with the source material, and that's probably a good thing, because if they actually made this a movie, this would be some crackhead shit. So, like, a lot of their biggest properties and biggest things they have out right now are not mainstream. Sure. So I understand that Moon Knight is not mainstream. That being said, I don't think they're playing it safe with it, because you have Oscar Isaac, who has insane star power. He's in so many big franchises, I can't even freaking count them. And you have a character that has mainstream appeal. He doesn't have to be mainstream. He has the appeal to be mainstream because his power set and his theming has that, in my opinion, that like factor where he doesn't sound stupid. Like, explaining this character doesn't sound embarrassing. Versus like my test group is always Jesse, because sometimes like me and JP will mention a comic book character, and Jesse will just sit there and
funny you
lose.
mentioned
I can think of one
right off the top of my head.
I can think of a guy. Yeah,
but like that's like my testing, like my test audience or my test group is like, how does Jesse feel about this character? There's this character Medusa, and she's a big redhead, and she can kill people with her hair. What do you think about that, Jesse? And Jesse's like, that's dumb. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But if Jesse's like,
it was dumb in Mortal Kombat, and it's dumb in comic books. How does that work?
But if I were to describe
is the hair alive?
Moon Knight
is it like
Jesse,
muscle?
Yeah.
If I were to be like, hey Jesse, there's a character who has DID, who has a split personality, and fights crime, is a millionaire, an actor, and a cabbie, and is possessed by an Egyptian spirit.
Yeah.
You'd probably be like, yo, that's pretty fucking dope.
Yeah. It's also a lot going on. Well, I mean,
way better than I have magic hair.
He has mainstream appeal. I do think we're going to see another season for that reason. I don't think they're like, let's see if the public can handle this.
I think we'll see another season eventually. However, I do not think we'll ever see him in a movie. I think
don't
he
think
is
he fits
way
the
too much
movie.
of a character to bring into a movie for people that don't know who that character is.
He's not quippy enough, if that makes sense. Like,
Oh, I think Steven is like the
I mean,
quippiest, one of the quippiest
let
characters
me
Marvel's ever
explain what
had.
I mean by that. The characters they always bring into movies are characters that make sense to be, like, one line and then they're in the background. I do not see this character as being one line and in the background. I see this character as
It's
being front and
impossible.
center every time.
Yeah. It's
Like,
impossible
that's
for him to be
kind
a
of
one-liner.
like, I think the reason War Machine would show up so much or, like, certain characters would show up so much is they say, "Hey, always got your back," and then they just melt into the background. I
Right.
cannot see a universe in which Mark Spector's like, "Well, I've always got your back," and disappears in the background. I can't see that being a thing.
It would
I
have to
see
be with
him
Blade. He need a really like super straight guy, just like someone
Agreed.
goddamn super serious. That has to be Blade. But
Agreed.
I don't.
I love Ant-Man, but
so
Ant-Man also
simple.
is so easy at, like, being, like,
Oh, he's the
quippy,
greatest
like,
background character.
I'm gonna drop my line, and then I'm gonna do my thing,
That's Paul Rudd,
You guys
yeah.
won't see me for the rest of the movie. Like, he fits that.
That's
But he's
Paul
like, "I'm
Rudd.
gonna say 3 funny things. All right, guys, bye," and you don't see him again, and you don't ask about it. Moon Knight, I just don't see that for that character.
Yeah.
For him to be like, "Let me drop a funny one-liner and disappear."
I agree.
It's so obvious to me. Moon Knight shows up, and and Blade's there, and he's just like, "Look at this 3-faced idiot." And Moon Knight's like, "Shut up, I'll kill you." And then he's like, "Bring it on, bro." And then
shows up.
Jon Snow shows up, and Jon Snow's like, "All right, guys, we've got to stop fighting." And then Steven's like, "Oh, are you from England too?" He's like, "What the hell kind of accent's that?" And then they have like a whole thing. And then like three best buddies doing the thing together, fighting crime and demons and shit. That'd be amazing.
The more
he's like, "You need to come help me get my girlfriend in space." And he's like, "Space? I've been to the moon. Moon Knight!" I'd be like, "Oh!" It'd be the best.
The more that like the MCU moves forward, the less I like Eternals. Because there's just
I really don't like that.
There's just so many things that are so
Oh, you don't say.
It also just really nailed home like how like uncompelling those characters are as superheroes. I'm sorry. They just don't.
Some work, but most of them are they're bad. They don't.
For me, it really is just Kingo. I'm sorry. Kingo's like really the only one who's working for me.
And that's it.
Oh yeah, I guess Druig's
but
kind of
the thing.
interesting.
Kingo and Druig, and it doesn't matter, like Angelina Jolie, it doesn't matter, any of them were literally just the actors.
Yeah, they were just stars.
Yeah. When I watched Eternals, it wasn't like, damn, that Kingo's. I was like, wow, he really got buff for this role. Look at him.
Yeah.
Good job. Good. I was like, oh, wow, Angelina Jolie still got it, man.
But
like, it was not like, wow, I can't believe famed comic book character. Like, at the end, it wasn't like, oh, thank God, whatever the hell his name is, Lover Man showed up. Thank God,
Eros.
Yeah,
Harry Styles.
I'm like, oh, no, it's just like, oh, Harry Styles is here. Like the whole movie was that. I was like, wow, these. By the way, yeah. So I don't know. I was gonna say something, but I got nothing else to say.
Okay. All right. I got it. Yeah. Anyways, that's Moon Knight. Fuck Eternals. That's the best way to talk about it.
Still so upset about that. Yeah, everyone in that movie was like, Eternals is just a showcase for actors being good at themselves.
Yeah.
Like, they were all great actors, but I wasn't like, man, I'm so glad to see Cersei on screen for the first time.
No.
Like, I'm all right. Like,
they weren't good.
Didn't care before and don't care now.
Yeah. I'll eventually watch
I do care about the giant spaceman, though. I want more spacemans. That dude's like, I have 12
big.
fucking eyes, and and the size of a universe. I want that. I want more of that guy. That guy's got stories to tell. He's like, my eyes are literal suns, bro. I'd be like, teach me.
Big.
Teach me?
Probably see him again.
Teach me.
We hope
Teach me
to
how
see
to
him
have
again.
sun eyes. Yeah.
Let's talk Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness.
Ooh, boy.
The spoiler alert tag is up, so don't complain now.
Oh yeah, we're
complain.
spoiling everything. It's spoilers
Spoiling
about.
everything.
You've been spoiled. Lured.
Spoiling
Warning.
everything.
Hey, so the thing that someone was laughing at that I couldn't stop laughing.
Mm-hmm.
It was I think it was like a full-on family or something next to me. I don't know. They're like, these are the Illuminati, and they start going down, and I'm like, oh God, who are the like who? What are we about? Blackagar Boltigan. These two women next to me just start laughing.
I'm glad. I'm glad because that shit was the minute that guy showed up on screen. All I could think about were the two of you, and all I could think about was how utterly ridiculous he looked. And they were like, "It's comically
love."
They called him
Didn't
out
you
on his
love
name
that, like,
and his fucking
Doctor
tuning
Strange
fork.
Roasted all of them. Don't you love that? That was my
so
favorite
good,
moment in MCU history. Is fucking Doctor Strange 616. Doctor Strange being like, I am about to read y'all losers to filth. My dude, you got a fucking fork on your head. Heidegger there again, or whatever he said. I was like, yes, let them have it. And he just went through and was like, loser, ugly, lame.
That was
like,
great.
Ain't shit. Bad fashion sense. Fuggo. Like, he just went down the line.
Bad
Stupid
fashion
name.
sense.
He went down the line and was like, y'all really ain't shit. Y'all gonna die. Y'all are stupid as fuck. Thank you. And I was like,
the one thing that it was not spoiled for me was Mr. Fantastic being in there. That was like the one thing that was not spoiled at all. And the fact that that got in there and it wasn't spoiled is like shocking to me. I can't believe they got John Krasinski up there. I don't know if that means that like he's going to play Reed Richards at some point, or if this was just a straight up giant fan service moment.
I'm gonna let you know. I both love and hate that I know that is just a giant fans. Like that's not going anywhere.
You don't think that is?
Nope. I think that was their like, here you go.
They're not.
And they're gonna go a different direction. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Watch it happen. That was done. And this is why that kind of sucks, because we're gonna end up with a different Fantastic Four, and then 10 years from now, no one's gonna remember that joke of like,
sure,
oh, that dude was, remember when we all wanted that? No one's gonna remember that.
I hope you're wrong, but you might be right.
I'm 100% right, because they literally, well, mega spoilers, they all die, yo.
Dude, they straight up like fucking invincible, these motherfuckers. I was
yeah,
like it was. I went in. So one thing that I did, it wasn't spoiled, but I saw a lot of reactions and people were saying like, God damn, this movie's like, I don't know how this wasn't rated R. Like this was really gruesome in a lot of ways. It was gory in a lot of ways. Like they fucking had just straight up zombie Doctor Strange, which we'll get to like Sam Raimi doing fucking Sam Raimi, because zombie Doctor Strange winked at a motherfucker and that shit was hilarious. We'll get to that moment. The fact that like they did the Matrix thing to Blackagar Boltigan, and then he whispered and his fucking head blew up and he just collapsed. He just straight up collapsed on the ground. I was like, holy shit. That was really
No, I have an interesting theory about that scene.
What's that?
Okay. This is a world in which their problems were essentially solved by using the book of the Vishanti.
Uh-huh.
So these superheroes, in my opinion, never hit their full potential because they never actually defeated Thanos. Like in my opinion, these characters were not as strong as their Earth 616 equivalents because they took a shortcut and they were left wanting because of it. I truly feel that. I don't think that had she been up against 616 Avengers, she would have made mincemeat of them that quickly, because these are people that fought Thanos fair and square and won, versus people that used the Darkhold, got the Book of the Vishanti, and basically had a wish like granted for them. I think that left them weak. I think that left them scared. I think that left them feeble.
Could be.
I don't think that this version of them was ever going to meet the version on 616 because they hadn't dealt with the same issues. They had this basically Deus Ex Machina, like, in their back pocket at any given time. They have a waypoint to it. At any given time, if they came up against something, their version of Strange could just pop on over and find the solution, which is wild to think about versus, like Strange kind of carried that universe on his back versus
Right.
the Strange on 616 didn't. They were already dealing with galactic peril and all this stuff before that even happened. And we have a Strange on 616 that didn't use the Darkhold and all this stuff. So I feel like I had a really interesting theory on that because if we look at it, here's what kind of confirms my theory. The Wanda from is it 6 or 383 is their universe?
Something
The
like
Wanda
that, yeah.
from their universe could not hold a candle to the Wanda on 616.
Well, she wasn't the
Because
Scarlet Witch.
She had also not hit her full potential, right?
That's true,
Like,
yeah.
her losing Vision to Thanos turned her into who she is. In a universe where she has a normal life, she also never hits that potential. I had very interesting thoughts on that. Like, Thanos,
But the question
to a
there,
certain
though,
extent, brought out the apex of each and every superhero. And in a world where he's wished away with the Book of the Vishanti, you end up with superheroes that cannot fight the 616 superheroes.
how, though, does she have kids if she did not create them?
Can I? All right, finally I can talk on this. Hey, hi. Jesse here.
No one's going to answer. Okay, we're going unanswered.
No.
Right.
No. I'm going to add more questions. Hi. I
Okay.
love Doctor Strange.
Okay.
I loved
Me
every
too.
scene Doctor Strange was in.
Yeah.
The Wanda story was atrocious and borderline ruined this movie for me.
Really?
If
I
I said
honestly
that,
left-
these people would have me for lunch if I said that same thing.
I thought they did
They
her
would
a little
say I'm a
dirty.
hater.
I thought they just did her dirty by immediately
not
going
only-
evil.
Not only do I think they did her dirty, but her plotline outraged me so much that I left the theater being like, I think I might have hated that movie. And not because of Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, loved every scene. Loved all of that. I loved America. I
America
loved
Chavez,
the
best-
people.
potentially best
I loved the
America
people from like different things. I loved
actually
She was
surprised me. She really surprised me. I was like,
She was
oh, is this
great.
going to be an annoying kid that's like tagging along with Strange and is it going to be frustrating? She wasn't that. I actually think
She
she
was
was
great.
really likable.
She was kind of
Yeah.
a plot device, but I think she was fantastic. But go on,
All
Jesse.
that
I want
stuff,
to
though-
hear about Wanda.
all that stuff is absolutely fantastic. Zombie Stranger is great. Defender Stranger is great. Like, again, everything that wasn't Wanda, fantastic. Here's my problem with Wanda. The story they decided to tell was one of a woman who had become obsessed with finding her kids in a different reality, and she'd do it no matter what the cost.
Uh-huh.
This is a thing that somehow both completely invalidates WandaVision, yet is entirely based on WandaVision. So the
How does
plot
it invalidate it? Explain it.
All right, so Wanda as a character goes through this whole thing of like, I can't believe I tortured these people, and I'm not a bad person, and I was grieving for Vision, and I can't believe like all these things, and there's even a moment where it's like, hey Wanda, no one knows what you went through, like you're a good person, get out of here, go live in the woods. And she goes to live in the woods, she goes and she like has the Darkhold, and you like hear her kids, and it's like, ooh, that's interesting. But her as a character, she has grown to a point where you think like, okay, well, she's not gonna do something crazy like that again. Invalidate everything that happened. Literally, she's like, oh, I will do crazy. I'll do crazier.
Well, that was
I
the
learned
Darkhold.
nothing from that experience. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it was a
It
book.
was the MacGuffin that like completely
Yeah, and
changed
again,
her as being.
totally stupid because again, let's just keep in mind that then means that if you're in the audience watching, you either must know what the fuck happened in WandaVision, or you're coming in, you haven't seen WandaVision, and you're a little confused about what the fuck's going on. But if you have seen WandaVision, if you're like me, the entire time you're thinking, okay, she is actively trying to get to her kids. And we all know that there is a white Vision out there that exists. And we are not once ever going to address Vision this entire fucking movie. More to the point.
That was weird to me. That was really weird that was never addressed. It actually really bothered me
Well-
because she says like, you ripped the stone out of his head. and it was for nothing. And I was like, okay, but where's he now though? Like
Doctor Strange clearly could find him because like
that was weird.
And so not mentioned at all. Vision not mentioned at all. And the rest of the movie is her trying to find her kids who how do those kids come to be? Who is the father of those children?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know how the kids came to be in the other universes. Yeah.
I'll tell you what my assumption was. Here's what my assumption is. This is my assumption. Because they didn't do the sort of strategy that was employed by 616 Doctor Strange, my thought process is that Thanos never got all the jewels, and so Vision is alive in that universe. That's my theory. I think they didn't show him, but I do think he's alive because they used a book of Vishanti to like I said, it's the Deus Ex Machina. They can just say, "Oh well, the Vishanti took care of Thanos. We never had to beat him." And I think that they never went through the snap. They never like grew. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why she has kids because like I'm assuming either Vision or someone else from the Avengers is alive.
Here's the thing. Here's in that universe.
They didn't really answer the kid stuff. You're right.
No. In that universe, they say all the robots are Ultron. So if Ultron exists, there is no need for a Vision. There is no Vision in that reality.
Because Ultron works.
Again, her kids are magic kids that just fucking appeared in that reality.
Wait, so then who are her kids?
The Wanda plot is nonsense. The Wanda plot is nonsense. Everything else in that movie is awesome. It's so good. And Wanda undercuts the whole fucking thing. And it upsets me tremendously because I want to love this movie, but I can't help that I hate this one bit. So
am I crazy or did she make her kids through magic?
Oh no, I don't think
she made her kids through magic in
WandaVision.
Yeah, in WandaVision she did. But I don't think that happened. Like the way I interpreted WandaVision is she willed them to life because she
wanted a family.
Yes.
Yeah, she wanted a family, and that was the next step of her strange, deranged, perverted fantasy she was creating for herself, right? Like, there's nothing about that that's wholesome or cute. That's why people weird me out when they're like, "Oh, it's such a cute love story." I'm like, "It's actually really disturbing."
Yeah,
she created
it's not
this
a love story at all.
She's like holding her own husband hostage. Yeah, she's holding her own husband hostage to the point that she doesn't like when he starts asking questions. She has him in like a fugue state where he's a puppet. He's not even a real person, but he's a puppet of what she wants him to be because her brain is so broken. And then because that was the next rational step, she willed them into existence, right? Because she can affect reality. They've only just started touching on that in this movie. In the comics, this has always been true. In the movie, her powers have always been wibbly wobbly. We don't really know the extent of her powers, right? This is the first WandaVision, they alluded to it where it's oh, she can affect reality because she believes in it. And then it kind of extended with that scene with Black Bolt where she can say, "You don't have a mouth." Or what mouth, you know? She can actually affect reality. But it's still not clear if she just made him believe he didn't have a mouth. So he freaked out and blew his own brains out. We don't really know that stuff.
I think she changes reality. That's the Scar the Witch in character. They stayed as such. She can just change reality on a whim.
Yeah, that's the stone. She's imbued with the stone's powers.
Yeah.
So
right.
That's her thing.
They only just started getting into that in WandaVision in this movie.
Totally. 100% correct. Yeah.
Prior to that was not her skill set at all.
She was a different character ultimately. Yeah. She was Wanda. She wasn't the Scarlet Witch yet, if that makes sense.
And I think this is the inherent flaw with this Wanda's motivations are she's trying to say she's trying to save kids that don't exist that she created, that she's trying to go to another reality to be with those kids, even though they're kids she made up. They're not real kids. They never were her kids. She didn't lose her children. And so
that's what happens at the end.
But she did lose Vision. And Vision exists in White Vision form. And the idea that she would go through all this trouble for these kids, but not include Vision on her vision
that was
board
a
of
little
things
strange.
that she wants makes no sense to me. And the fact that Vision exists in our reality and that she can spend the entire movie if the story was her being I'm going to find a reality where Vision's still alive, and that was her motivation, so then she can start her family with Vision, and then at the end Vision is alive, That's like full circle. And the fact that it was like, no. She's going to go insane, murder an entire universe worth of people, and then have zero redeeming qualities to the point where, like, if Wanda ever shows up again, because they did that thing where, like, she's dead, but, like...
Oh, she's not dead. She'll be back.
Yeah. So,
I don't know.
for sure...
Here's
the Scarlet Witch is dead. Wanda's not dead.
But zero redemption. I will never be
no,
like,
she's
a fan favorite.
She has no redemption. I had more empathy for Hela than I have for this character.
Hela got screwed.
I'm serious.
She was pissed.
I have more empathy for like just about every villain except for this one. Like, sorry, chat. I truly, in my heart of hearts, just don't understand why people like her. I don't see any redeeming qualities, and a lot of them came forward in this movie. I made a joke going into it where I was like, Wanda, for all intents and purposes, killed her version of Monica Rambeau. I made a joke about it on the last MCU Crew where I said she really was like, this is a gated community, and like Karen'd her through like 18 hexes or whatever. She didn't know that Monica was gonna turn into Spectrum from that. For all she knew, this bitch was Jello. She was dead, right? And I was like, what the thing she put that black woman through in that, and with her little whitewash universe, is giving white supremacy. She does it the same thing with America Chavez. Am I wrong? Am I fucking wrong? She's just like, I will kill that little brown bitch and I'm gonna take her fucking powers. And Steven's like, you could just have her. And he's like, you could just have her. I'm saying the jokes I made were fucking true. Because this was a fucking joke. For the record, I don't actually think Wanda's a white supremacist. It's a joke I make on my channel to trigger Wanda fans.
All I'm gonna say is like, Strange went to kill her first, Bronze. So
she's the ultimate like Karen. She's like such a fucking Karen. I made these jokes and I was like, I bet you like she's gonna call America Chavez a slur during the movie or something. I say this stuff because I love watching Wanda fans like be like, how dare you not like her? Like, trolling you guys is like my lifeblood. It's so much fun. So I was like making jokes. I was like, oh, I bet you. But then like it actually happens where she's like, I'm gonna kill that little bitch. And it's like, oh, but you don't have to. You could just have her take you to that reality and then like leave her alone. And she's like, what if my precious white babies get sick? This little bitch needs to fucking die, because what if my sons get sick? I am going to kill her. I'm going to drain her of her fucking life because I need my precious Aryan sons to survive. Okay? And I was just like,
you're alone on this, Bronze. I'm not in allegiance whatsoever.
Nah, I'm going. Nah, Hotel Bronze. I'm trolling y'all today. I was like, there's y'all. You're really gonna. And then the relish with which she killed an entire monastery of brown people. I was like, yo,
she did fuck that monastery up.
Okay,
I was like, this bitch really quickly, evil.
just like time out, just real quick time out. Going back to what Bronze was saying, really quick. I just want everyone to think about again. This is how bad the Wanda plot is. Wanda is going to kill America because rather than having America open a portal to a place where...
Say that again, Jesse, just one more. I just love the statement out of context.
Wanda's going to kill America.
Thank you, yeah.
So Wanda is going to kill America because she can't trust her to always be around to open a portal. Like, what if something happens to her kids? All right, just pause really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Once Wanda steps through and takes control of that reality or whatever, kills off the other Wanda, gets her kids, which I guess was her plan, even though it's a terrible plan to begin with, but whatever.
Terrible plan.
Terrible, like the worst type of plan. I'm glad they at least showed what would happen, which is absolutely true. But whatever the case may be, like, she goes there. Now again, what have we talked about? She can manipulate all of reality with the power of the stone inside her body, and all
Couldn't
reality.
She just make her kids not sick?
Couldn't she just make her kids not sick? Yes, she literally.
Yeah, no, I had this thought too. She had no valid reason.
She ripped another man apart. It's insane.
She had no valid reason for killing America other than she just didn't like her. I'm sorry. She had no reason. In fact, instead of terrorizing this poor girl across multiple realities, okay, terrorizing the ever-living shit out of this poor girl, she could have just been her friend and been like, hey, listen, I need your help. You know, can you take me to this other reality? And this young, impressionable girl, she might have done it. In fact, she could have mind controlled her. We've seen her do it. She can manipulate America's powers.
Yep.
She could have mind controlled her to go to that reality. And then if she ever needed her again, done it again. She didn't do that. Instead, she's like, I'm going to kill her. And it's like, why? Because
the Darkhold corrupted her and she was super corrupted. I wanted the
I
power
want to
go through.
To the point that Strange asks her. And I know people are like, oh, but Bronze, Strange tried to kill her too. Strange had a reason, at least. Strange is like, I can't let this evil, crazy Karen get this power, right? To the point that even Wong, arguably one of the most wholesome people on Earth 616, agrees. The Sorcerer Supreme himself says, Strange, buddy, you're going to have to do this. If Wanda gets that power, all of reality is going to fall apart. It's all going to come into, we're going to have incursions everywhere. Reality's going to disintegrate if this bitch gets that fucking power. You have to do it. And Strange is like, no, I believe in America. So do I, Strange. But Strange at least had a reason. When he confronts Wanda on this, and this is where I think Wanda's writing falls apart. Wanda never has a solid reason for anything. I loved at the beginning. I was like ready to clap because I was sitting there having this conversation in my head. I was like, someone please ask this bitch this question. And my God, my hero, Dr. Strange does. He says, Wanda, what are you going to do when you get there? And she's like, what? He's like, what are you going to do to that version of you? And she's just like, I don't have answers to any of your questions.
I'm going to make a new rule for the show. Bronze can't talk about Wanda anymore. The takes are just too insane.
Jesse agrees.
I feel like you drink insane person juice when Wanda filters into your brain.
Wanda
comments
just have
come out and I'm just like, what? The Bronze is crazy. We got a crazy person on the show right now.
They could have written any dialogue there. They could have written anything at that point in time for her to be like, well, that Wanda got to live with her kids for all this time. I didn't. I'm just left with her dreams and I deserve this, Like she had her shot at bliss. She could have said, oh, I'm going to put her in a pocket dimension where she gets to believe that she's with her kids, but I'm actually going to go. She could have answered with anything. But what's frustrating is in her writing, she never does. It's not even my critique of Wanda. It's my critique of how they write Wanda. She could have had a valid reason for killing America Chavez. She could have said, well, if she puts me in that reality, those people might kick me back out. She could have said, I need America's power to prevent an incursion. What if I go to that reality and that reality unravels? I need America's power to stabilize it. She could have said anything. But her literal answer is, what if my kids get sick? And that's where I'm going to sit here and say, Wanda's writing is fucking horrible. It has been horrible consistently. The idea that she talks about her husband being dead when we know that Vision exists, a version of Vision, is wild to me. And the fact that she talks about that moment like it's so horrible to her, like, you ripped the stone out of my husband's head. And then she goes to a reality where it's like, why don't you go to a reality where Vision's alive? Why does Vision not calculate into any of your plans? Like,
what's
and it's
crazy
like,
to
if
me
that
is
moment was so scarring for you, why is that not part of your grand plan?
That is that like think about her as a character. She comes back in Endgame from being dusted, and her whole thing is like, you killed my man, Thanos, and I'm pissed. So then afterwards, she gets a scene where she's like, I guess they're gone. And then she like has a moment where she grieves in the worst possible way, takes over a town, but she comes out the other side as supposedly a better person for it. And instead of any type of like, Wanda got visited by, like White Vision, who is flying around with the memories of Vision in him now. Like, certainly that would be a thing that we'd all want to be in on. No, she is left to stew with this freaking book. And then the book is like, hey, I know that you could just create those kids. Now you have unlimited power. You could just create some kids. Fuck it. Let's go to some other reality and like really kill some people. Like, there is no reason for an alternate, like, her being there is shoehorned into the plot. Like, the Multiverse of Madness, it's unnecessary for Wanda to be in this film if that's the way that, like, if this is the story they wanted to tell. Unnecessary. She does, like, it only made Wanda's story worse, and more importantly, now there is like zero if Wanda shows up at anything and any character's like, we can help her, I'm be like, shut up, this sucks. Wanda is now the giant statue in the ocean of Marvel movies. She is just like, exists, messes stuff up, and people are like, that's okay, baby girl, you'll get through it. Like, no, there's so much that, like, y'all, if Professor X exists in a reality with Wanda, does that mean Wanda in that reality was Magneto's kid?
Yeah, no, Professor X existing really fucks up a lot of shit.
So, like, yeah. If we're, and all I'm saying is, if we're going that direction where we have to have questions about, like, alternate realities, the last thing I want to think about during the movie is, like, why is nobody, like, honestly, I was like, why is nobody saying Vision is alive? Like, you can start your life with him. It's not over. Like, surely someone would be like, Wanda is attacking Comertage or whatever, and all this, a giant, like, a war is going. Surely someone, somewhere in Saber would have been, or Sword, sorry, would have been like, we all saw him fly away.
I don't think, like, White Vision is Vision, though. He's White Vision.
But he has the memories of Vision in him.
Yeah, but Jesse,
he's a different person.
Jesse, if you got married and your wife died and they cloned your wife, would you be cool with that?
Have I literally taken over a town out of grief? Because probably yes.
Well, JP, to answer your question with a question.
Okay.
If you were to replace your wife with a clone and you would know the difference, why does Wanda and her infinite wisdom think she can replace these kids' mom and they won't know that that's not their mom? By her own logic, if that Vision is not Vision, then for her to think that those kids are not going to clock that that's not their mom is actually insane.
Correct.
Like, she is huffing some hardcore copium.
Ding, 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 ding.
Like,
but, like,
ding, ding, ding,
it's wild.
ding, ding,
like,
ding,
because
ding.
by her own logic, that Vision should be like, it should factor somewhere on her radar.
Everyone's forgiving Wanda because they're just like, Darkhold. But
it's, like, a MacGuffin, 100%. It's the MacGuffin.
It is not. That's not a great. Yeah, like, even as far as MacGuffins go, it's not a great MacGuffin. It's like literally again, if you let me just really quickly. If you had never seen WandaVision, you would have no clue where the Darkhold came from, why she has it. They didn't say how she got it. They never once said how she got it.
That's true. They never do.
Never said that.
You know, we actually do. We never know. Did she get it because she's the Scarlet Witch and that's like her? That's the thing.
No, she stole it from
Agatha.
So they never say that.
That's
because
true,
Agatha had it under her house. They never say that shit. So she just has it and is reading it. So you would never know how she got that. And here's the thing. You would now, if you've never seen WandaVision, be like, why is her main thing kids? Who the fuck are these kids? Why are the kids important when her whole thing was Vision? Like, the Wanda storyline, it lacks all sense. It is utter nonsense in a movie that is filled with nonsense that you should be, like, focusing on. Like, oh my God, Reed Richards. Yeah. I should be focusing on how insane it is that I saw Blackagar bolt again. But instead, I'm sitting here like, why is Wanda's storyline?
Jesse, I think you bring up a really good point, though, which you've actually put to words, I think, what my struggle is. So, like, to bring up the comics quickly, not to draw a parallel, but to just talk about why I like Wanda from the comics. Wanda from the comics, there's no question that she has mental health issues. Like, it's very clear that she is not operating the way a normal person would. In fact, it's often referred to that Doctor Strange channels order and she channels chaos, to the point that this is a tactic they use several times to defeat people, where she will channel pure chaos and he channels pure order, and then it collides and things happen, right? My issue with the way the movie is sometimes they talk about as though she has, like they even say, like, this is me being reasonable. They talk about, reason. They talk about how she has valid motivation. She deserves, to the point that her character is like coddled in several places, right? Like, imagine someone that you don't know, like, has taken over your body with the intent to kill you, made you murder all of your friends, and wants to steal your kids, and you're gonna be like, "Poor thing. They'll be loved."
I would have vaporized her.
I
would
would not have
Black
done
Jar
that.
Boltigan'd
Like,
her
this
immediately.
woman, for the record, this woman has ruined her life. Wanda will forever live with the memories of murdering her own friends because this woman did that. And she's like, "I can't imagine." To a point that America even says, "Don't do this, Wanda. This isn't you." And I was like, "Isn't it?" That's the part that gets me. She's not really crazy. She's not really, like, they walk this weird line where I'm like, either make her go batshit or have her have a good reason like Hela did. I understood Hela. I got that. I was like, "Okay, I understand." I understood Killmonger. I understood a lot of these. I was like, "Y'all need to choose a side. Either have her just be, well, nope, she's lost it. The dark hold's on her brain. She's great." But then they're like, "No, because sometimes she shows restraint and really, she has a good reason." And even Reed Richards says, "I have kids and I don't know what I would do if that changed. So, really, she's got it." And it's like, just go fully unhinged with her. And then I would understand that, where I'd be like, "Okay, she's lost it. There's no reasoning with this person." But at the end, reason does prevail. So I don't know if the Darkhold really had the hold on it did. How much of this is her motivation and how much of it is insanity? I don't know, because at the end, it's just her being like, "My kids are scared of me. You know what? Never mind. I take it all back. I'm going to go. I'm going to undo all my actions." And I was like, I thought for a moment there they were gonna do something cool and maybe have the other Wanda defeat this Wanda or something. I really thought when she was like, "I can't beat you," I thought she was gonna, like, open the door and have the other Wanda beat her, and that was gonna be, like, a redemption arc or something. But instead, they were like, "No, now magically she's going to be she's gonna, like, reason's gonna prevail." And I was like, "But what happened to the Darkhold madness that y'all keep clinging to as some weak defense?" That MacGuffin, does that not work anymore? She's suddenly like, "You guys are right. I have to make sure this never happens again." Ugh. I was like,
It worked for
"Okay,
me. If it doesn't
whatever."
work for you, it doesn't work for you. It worked for me.
To be clear, in MCU canon now, Wanda Maximoff has killed more superheroes than any villain.
Yeah.
And I do not see how at any point in the future they could bring her back as a character and me be like, "Thank God."
Yeah,
I
don't know
need to see
they
how
do
her
that.
story ends. Like, I literally cannot. I'm like over. I'm so over the entire thing. Thanos kind of did more. They all came back. Thanos,
You know what I will
technically,
say, though?
only killed his daughter, technically.
Like, Wanda's iffy writing aside, this movie still had some of my favorite scenes I've ever seen in the MCU. Like, it is so unapologetically a Doctor Strange comic that it's still one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. Like, it's so good. There was that scene where the two Stranges fight each other and they're using music, and I shit you not, I was, like, having to hold back, like, a fangirl scream, and, like, they're playing different styles of music.
Was that from the comics or something? Like, what was it? For me, I was just like, why is Danny Elfman fighting himself here in this scene?
So cool. Because, like, the comics dating back to the '70s are fucking crazy. They're weird. They're weird, and there's times, like, there's a villain that he'll defeat with a riddle or, like, something like, "Oh, but I had forgotten. I can actually walk to the astral realm," and, like, all this crazy shit happens, and so them, like, doing that music thing and then them using the music to symbolize that, like, at the end that, like, "Oh, something's not quite right."
Yeah.
I was, like, screaming. It was so good. I just felt like that was such a strange moment for him to not only do that, but murder himself, because Strange is that one. He's that guy that will take himself, murder him, and throw himself on a spike, and you're just like,
yeah, I didn't expect
"Dude,
the spike. I was like, oh,
dude!"
dead.
Because he doesn't give a fuck. He's so cool. He does not care.
Yeah.
Him fighting Mordo, I was like, this motherfucker. God bless you, Stephen Strange. He's just like, you probably liked when I died. Why? Because you're a piece of shit.
But I also like that he didn't kill Mordo. And Mordo in that universe makes it out.
Yeah.
So like,
no
I
one
thought
else
that was
does,
super.
though. Holy shit.
Yeah, I thought that was super interesting. That he, like. Here's the thing. Going back with Bronze, what you were saying, I loved all the Doctor Strange bits in this movie. Loved them.
So good.
Loved
so
them.
good.
There's
so good.
everything that was in this movie was like. Here's the thing. If you like Raimi, you're gonna love this movie.
Oh,
but if like you don't like the way he shoots movies, you're gonna be like, what am I watching? And it was full. They were like, let the man do his thing.
The camp was like in full effect. Like we got a zombie Doctor Strange winking at someone.
I love that.
Which is great.
I love that.
Unless you don't
love
like
it.
that,
I love
and then you hate it.
Christine in this movie.
Yeah.
Like I love that they actually managed to give us a full-fledged love story. Like I truly feel that they did. Like it's that MJ Spider-Man story that we kind of wanted, like from Into the Spider-Verse specifically.
Right.
Where he always alludes to like, well, things didn't work out with Mary Jane in my timeline. And you're like heartbroken about that. They really hit on that in this movie. In like when America's like, oh my gosh, you ended up marrying Christine. And he's like, you went, do it. And like the way they each have a different thing for that and how truly like I think the opening of this movie is one of my favorite things ever. Like seeing him get out of bed, put on, first of all, he's so beautiful. Putting on his like broken watch and going to that wedding. Who among us has not? That's pain, my dudes. That's pain. That's real, unadulterated pain. Like he is a sorcerer supreme. He can control
That's
everything.
how it felt watching JP get married. Yeah, I was like, there he goes. Love of my life.
He can control everything. And he can't do this, you know?
Yeah, but he got her back when he was like, fuck you, I'm gonna go fight this giant eye thing. And you're gonna have to watch with your entire wedding party. I thought that was pretty hilarious.
She looked so annoyed.
Oh,
she looked so annoyed in that moment. And I get it. She's like,
it's her wedding day and he's just like
my wedding.
Off. Yeah.
Him filling up her glass of wine. Like, and I think the growth there was so insane for me to see that like dichotomy between like him and Wanda, where he's also kind of given up the love of his life. To the point that he says that. He's like, I love you in every universe. But he's not going to do what she did. And in his universe, Doctor Strange is dead. He could, but he's not going to because he knows better, you know? And I felt like that was, that was real sacrifice. Like, because it's a sacrifice he doesn't have to make, the sacrifice he chose to make. It meant a lot to me because, like, he's spending this, like, he trusts her so implicitly where he's like, yo, listen, some demons are going to come from my body. Like, you got me though, right? Okay, bye. And he truly believes in this mortal woman. Like, and he knows that she is smart enough, resourceful enough, and that she will save him. And that for me was like so romantic. I was just like, oh, I died.
I need so boy, I hate going back and doing this, but here I am. I think what I realized from this movie is that going in, again, because we were told this by everyone at Marvel, that Wanda was a Nexus event character. Like everything about Wanda.
I was confused
Wanda
a little bit with this.
Yeah. The other Wandas were clearly different. The other one was totally different. It's a different Wanda. She was not like the idea that no matter what, Wanda's always going to become
the Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch clearly isn't true. But the real Nexus character, it turns out, was Doctor Strange, and that he never, ever gets Christine. It always is that way. And I thought that was like a really great storytelling, and the idea that like there is no version out there for him. And when he did find it, Bronze is totally right. He had to walk away, and then he repairs his watch, and he has like, I'm moving on. Time moves forward. It's a beautiful moment. Again, the Doctor Strange bits in this movie are phenomenal. They're so good.
They did a really good job writing him.
Yes. His character growth
They did a really good job
phenomenal.
writing him because you have this moment at the beginning of the film where you see the better versions of him twice, actually, throughout the movie. You see the versions of him that are fully realized, that in their realities, they are the Sorcerer Supreme, and they have access to a cadre of abilities that even he doesn't, right? So, like, the Supreme that tries to kill or the Strange that tries to kill America Chavez, one could argue that that is a more skilled version because he's able to find the Book of Vishanti. He seems to know more than the Strange does. He seems more capable than the Strange is, and that's like, he tries to kill America. Then you have the version on Earth. I keep getting confused if it's 838 or
I think
383.
it's
it's
So sorry.
843.
No, it's 838.
834.
It's
8
838.
3 Oh my god, this is not helping.
It's
But
838.
the other version is so competent that not only is he able to get a hold of the Darkhold, but he establishes the Illuminati, confesses to them what he did, which he doesn't have to, helps them find the Book of Vishanti, solves all their problems for them, and says, "Hey, you guys probably can't trust me. Go ahead and get rid of me." Right? Like, this is how insanely ahead of the curve this dude is. Arguably better version of Strange. But even Professor X says just because one version of him is off doesn't mean every version of him is off. Let him go.
Yeah, that.
I think he read his mind. It's Professor X.
Well, it was
I
Professor X doing his
100%
Professor X thing, right? Like, I feel like
Yes.
Patrick
I
Stewart
believe
enters a room and he just looks at someone. He's like, "Be better," and then that kid's life is like changed forever.
Yeah,
That's just what
I
he does.
completely
Yeah.
believe that he read his mind
Yeah.
and was like, "This one's different. This one's not like ours." Because I don't think Professor X would have allowed that Strange to be executed if he knew there was a chance at him not doing evil. I think Professor X was familiar with the old Strange, was familiarized himself with this Strange and was like, "This one's different." So then we come back to 616, and even the Sorcerer Supreme, Wong, is like, "Do it. You have to kill her." And it shows us what a superhero is, right? It's not their power set. It's not how many spells he knows. It's not if he's the Sorcerer Supreme or the Scarlet Witch or the ultimate whatever. It's the fact that in that moment he believes in this little immigrant kid and he believes that she can do it. And like that is like such a homegrown beautiful story cuz so many people get caught up in MCU movies of who's the most powerful. Is it Captain Marvel? Is it Wanda? Well, Wanda's the strongest, character. It doesn't matter that she's the strongest character because Doctor Strange is the best hero. Because in that moment, he believes in this kid and he says, kick that witch's ass.
Bro,
He puts his life in her hands and like truly believes in that moment. And
I'm-
that's what saves him.
I'm only
That's
laughing
literally what
because
saves him.
if anyone else said that, Bronze, I'd be like, "Good point." The fact that you're saying that, I'm just like, "Bronze,
Okay,
shut up.
but
You're a
that's an
fangirl.
admission of your
You fucking
bias.
hate
That's an
Doctor."
admission of your bias, though. But like his so-called shortcomings end up being what make him a great superhero.
I think it was.
Like his
I agree.
personal growth.
I think it was growth, and I think that like Spider-Man was definitely a shepherd to that moment, with him kind of failing
Yes.
in that movie. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you in that regard.
Yeah, but
Oh my
he
God.
also like supports Spider-Man in that way, right? Like he almost learns from the Spider-Man moment to believe in America.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
in some ways creates probably one of I say this in quotes, strongest superheroes on 616 for now. She can jump because he believes in her so much. Like that's kind of I don't know. That for me was like him actually donning the mantle of like what Iron Man's role was,
Yeah.
Like we haven't I think like this is the official time where he like actually crosses over and becomes that character because Iron Man was that for Spider-Man, really, truly. And I feel like this character has become that for America because he, like, and him saying, like, you're gonna find your moms. Like, you're gonna find your moms, you're gonna learn magic, you need to be patient. Like that was, I don't know, it was just such a special moment for him to be like, it's you. And she's like, no, I messed up. He's like, every portal you ever made led you to this moment. That made me tear up for him to be like, every mistake you ever made was for you to come here and do this. You got this. I was like, that's my Strange. Like I teared up. I was like, and it was almost like him talking about himself. Like every mistake that he's made has led him. Why are you laughing, Jesse?
I don't know why Jesse's laughing. I'm on board with you.
Ron's, I completely agree with you. When he said, like, when she called him Steven and he didn't say anything about it, and like I was like, look at his character, like it was all great. He bowed to Wong. Everything about him was amazing. I just think it's the way the more you describe this, the more in depth your description becomes, the more I absolutely have the mental picture of Doctor Strange turning around and being like, "You've got this. It was you all along. Everything led you to this." And it cuts and it's just you standing there in the jacket, just really excited. Doctor Strange is recognizing that you're that. He's like, "Bronze, you've got this. I believe in you." And
yes,
I just
that too
the more
as well.
you keep talking about it, the more I'm
I
like,
wasn't
that's all I
envisioning
see.
that. I wasn't envisioning that. I was like,
That's what
I
I'm
don't know.
envisioning.
I felt
I'm
that's
envisioning
what you're
that
envisioning.
now.
Do I need to do an America Chavez cosplay, Jesse?
Not only do you need to, I need to go to Disneyland, pay an actor to then turn to you and say the whole dialogue. So I can then take a photo of it and then send it to you and be like, "This is what we were talking about on the podcast."
It's a TikTok.
This
Yeah.
is what.
No photo.
There was
This is what- yeah.
definitely like, I think like the reason that moment was like for me was really awesome was that character, I really love how they wrote her, and halfway through I was just like, God, what an unfortunate person to be. Like, she's
Like a
responsible
cursed
for her
position.
parents
Yeah.
falling through time. There's no other version of her to offer her solace, to comfort her. It's a perfect mirror to Spider-Man. There's no other person for her to talk to, for
True.
her to truly relate to understand her. And she believes she's cursed. By the end of the movie, she's literally like, "You know what? Just do it."
Yeah, she straight up
Like,
says,
that's
"Kill
so
me." I get
sad.
it. Yeah.
That's so sad. Like, she thinks she's a mistake. She doesn't think there's anything about her that is meant to exist. She's like an anomaly, you know? And
Well, I think she
it
is
just made me sad.
I think she is the one true Nexus being. And that's where it got a little bit weird for me because they spent all this time talking about like Nexus being and like the Scarlet Witch, but she's the only person in the entire multiverse that is her, and they didn't like talk about that. Granted, they don't have to talk about that.
Make any fucking sense.
But yeah, that where I was kind of like, that's a little strange.
It's all
It's
kind of
so upsetting.
implied. She's the only person that can walk between and doesn't cause incursions. 'Cause I don't think she really has, like, a home plane. Like, at the end,
Oh,
she's
she
hanging out
definitely
on
did with her
6
mom, but not anymore. Or
Well,
with her moms,
yeah,
but not anymore.
here she can't get there.
Yeah.
And she talks multiple times about spending a lot of time in other realities, right? Like, she says, like, "Oh, yeah, usually food on every other" I thought that was very cheeky. "Usually food in every other multiverse is free," and she's, like,
Yeah,
sitting there
that
eating
was
pizza balls, and she has her rules of, like, first thing you do, you eat food. Second rule of, everything you know to be true is not true. This heavily implies that, like, since she was a little kid, she hasn't been in the reality she first jumped to, but she's jumped multiple times.
No,
She doesn't wanna be in the paint one for too long.
Yeah, no, they literally say that
Yeah.
or it's heavily implied that every single one they went through was one that she's been to before.
She's been to
The one
before,
that
yeah.
she's been through before, right. So it's
Mhm.
not like she accidentally made a portal at the beginning and she's lived there the entire time. She's been traveling, going through, and at the end, she's on 616, she's not in her home plane, and there's no fear, they don't even discuss an incursion. She might be the only person that can hop that doesn't cause incursions. And that's really like, that's kinda strong,
She's
right?
gonna be very
'Cause that
important
really
to the future. Yeah.
and I think it's precisely because she's the only version of her. So there's not a conflict. Like, because there's no version of her anywhere else, she can live there forever, I think.
Can I ask
So,
a
like, her
question?
power
Just
set
like
is very interesting because of that alone.
I agree. Yeah.
what
She'll be important.
define for me what an incursion is, because I still don't quite understand what the hell they meant when they were talking about this in the movie.
My understanding of an incursion is when you go to another universe and it causes the two universe, the one that you're from and the universe that you traveled to start to collide with one another, which is where he finds the Doctor Strange at the end. That is a universe that had an incursion happen.
Sure. No, I mean, like, I get the aftermath,
Okay.
but like the cause, I'm not sure I understand. Like, is the implication that the end of Spider-Man was the beginning of an incursion
Yes.
when all those guys showed up?
I guess.
I don't. Incursions happen when you dreamwalk. Both are forced into each other. I don't know if that's. I don't know what. Like,
I don't think.
I don't know what it.
They play a little fast and loose with that stuff. But
yeah, I would love to know what that means, because I kept thinking the entire time, like, so when does the incursion start? At which point, like, if you inhabit the dead body of yourself on the world that you are not
I
on,
don't
but
think it's
that there
just
is
that.
a world, like, like, but that's like layers of complexity that I'm just
Yeah.
like, so if that dude flies through reality and dies on our world, then what is that, like, like, that's the other universe touching us. There was a
Well,
scene where the star portal opened, and like, that portal was open for a long time while we had a whole end scene with Wanda talking to Wanda. So
yeah.
I just, like, I have no idea what the rules are, and I just want
They didn't
clarification.
explain it too
That's all.
much. We might get. I mean, when Cleo or Charlize they're on bust through in the post credit scene, she says like you caused an incursion. Cleo is in the comics the niece of Dormammu, and she's from the
Dark
Dormammu's
universe,
realm. Yeah, the
right?
Dark Universe. Yeah, correct. She's the Sorcerer Supreme there in the comics. So I don't know how he would cause an incursion there, unless maybe when they were flying through the multiverses, they jumped
That's different
into it.
though.
I don't know.
No, the dark dimension is a dimension. It's not a universe. It's
Oh,
like,
it's just a
fourth,
different
fifth, sixth.
dimension, but it has an
It's a different
incursion
dimension.
going on it. That's what she says.
Maybe I think she said they caused an incursion, period, and then the portal opens to the dark dimension. She didn't say that that it was caused in the dark dimension.
That's true. They
She
didn't
just said, "You've
designate
caused
where.
one. Let's go." And he's like, "All right." And then the
That's true.
background showed the dark dimension, which I think was more of a hint as to who she is versus what was caused. Maybe.
Yeah, could be. Could be. It's definitely open. The shocker there is that Charlize Theron is playing Cleo, which I was kind of weird.
Are we
She's
gonna
so
find
cool.
like?
She's so cool. Like,
Charlize Theron
I
or Cleo or both?
Charlize there, she's
Okay.
so cool. Like, having her and Cate Blanchett in the MC, I was just mad they, like, got rid of Hela in one go, 'cause I'm like, "Yo, listen."
She'll be back,
She
maybe.
yeah, it could be
If she
back,
wants
but
to be
for
back,
now,
she could be back. Oh, it's
needed,
Clea,
right?
not Cleo. Sorry.
And I was like, "Yo, Charlize Theron and Cate Blanchett in my MCU? Oh my gosh, guys. That's so
I,
good. That's so good."
here's my question. First off, that's awesome, and that's gonna lead to some really cool shit. And I hope we actually get to see, like, I want to see comic book accurate Dormammu. I want flaming, like, old D&D wizard style, like, flaming skull head, like, "Welcome, bitches!" I would love that.
God
But
damn it.
I'm very curious if they're gonna pull a Fast and the Furious on us, because it seems to me like,
what do you mean by that?
hey, good thing spoilers are up. Spoilers for Fast and Furious. If you've never seen it,
Okay.
um,
They're going to
at a certain
Tokyo
point,
to learn to
at a
drift.
certain right, well, that's very important, because at a certain point you realize that as you progress into 4, 5, 6, that those movies are prequels to before the first two movies, before Tokyo Drift,
Yeah. Tokyo Drift is the most future facing one. Up
except for the
until
most recent
9.
one.
Yeah, till 9,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But like, you literally have a moment of like, whoa, these are all prequels. And so all I'm saying is, in this scenario, we have Doctor Strange caught up in some shit, and he's gonna go off and do some stuff. And we have, Peter Parker and that whole situation. And there's all this stuff. And I keep thinking that perhaps the things that happened with the Eternals are like, haven't happened yet.
Oh,
Does that make sense? Like,
this is your saving grace that the Eternals events is the most future present
I mean,
timeline.
because I keep thinking about, like, if Clea's introduced, that is a storyline that goes somewhere. And the next X number of movies do not go there.
They're not going to mention it at all, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that is a huge place to take Doctor Strange right now. And so if he's there, the rest of the MCU has, like, all this stuff to handle and figure out. And I keep thinking, like, I don't know. They met to talk about the next 10 years, and I would love to know what the hell they're doing, because none of it makes sense right now. The like, all the plot lines they're going, you can see, like, you have Secret Wars, you can see, like, all the, like, Secret Invasion, you have all these different
Threads,
things
yeah.
that, like, You have all these things that you can see happening. None of it is cohesive.
Right. Yeah, I saw a longer thread about that. On like where all this is going, and they, compared it to phase 1 and 2 and 3, with like the Avengers kind of being the big payoff. But I think for them, the payoff right now is like having Reed Richards show up, right? Like those are the payoff moments.
But that's like
but it's not the same at all. But that's their payoff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you think about that phase 1, we all knew, like, from movie 1, Sam Jackson shows up and is like, I'm putting a team together, or whatever the hell he says.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, everyone in the theater loses their minds. And then the next movies come out and it's like, all right, you may not have liked Thor, you may not have liked the Captain America or whatever, but we are going to make the Avengers. We're going towards there. They're introducing characters. They're like, oh, Black Widow shows up in one thing, and like, oh, there's Hawkeye. And then we get to the moment where Hulk shows up, and it's like Avengers movie. And that's the payoff.
Right.
With this, we're all over the place. Spider-Man is starting over. Doctor Strange has left reality. We have characters who have retired.
With a third eye.
We're introducing all these new characters, and like, then not talking about them again. We are like, there's so many loose threads right now. I don't know where they go because I can't figure it out to save my life. And I like to think I'm good at that kind of stuff. I have no idea what they intend to do. None.
Yeah. I mean, Thor seems like it's going to be a pretty insular story.
Yeah.
Guardians is going to introduce like Adam Warlock, but they're going to say goodbye to probably some characters. Miss Marvel's not going to be like a cohesive show that ties everything together. Maybe, but I doubt it. I don't know. I don't know. Like,
I think they're just going to have to start fracturing, like they did in the comic.
Oh, where like only these characters interact with these characters. Yeah. I thought about that too.
You have Cosmic Marvel, you have mutants, you have this, and no one's really expected to watch all of it except for us because we're super nerds. But each one is like kind of self-contained because one thing that I think really showed up in Eternals, and lesser so in Endgame and stuff, is that you could only have so many characters on screen before they just don't get any time.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Like you do have a limit on that. You do 100% have a limit on how many people you can jam into a movie. And I understand everyone wanting to be in the MCU. Like if I played Korg, I would not want to go away after being in there once. And the thing is, especially when those characters are popular and beloved by the audience, but let's keep it a buck. Where does Korg fit in Endgame?
Avengers? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like when you have these massive like crossovers, where do these characters start to fit in? And then it comes down to power levels, as much as I hate that. But it's like, oh, it has to come down to power levels because, well, how would a character fight Galactus? How's War Machine gonna fight Galactus?
Yeah, he'll fly around, shoot some rockets. That's all he needs.
Yeah, and so then they become kind of stupid looking. You know what I mean? Like one of my favorite things about Hawkeye, the show, was really seeing, oh yeah, this is where Hawkeye thrives. And for me, like, I love Daredevil. Daredevil's one of my favorite heroes. I don't think Daredevil fits. What is Daredevil gonna do against Thanos, man? Like, I love this guy. I love Matt Murdock. But come on, let's keep it a buck. What is he gonna do against Thanos?
Sure.
Nothing. He's Daredevil. But he is great in his own stuff. He's great in his own way. Now that we have characters like Black Knight, we have characters like Blade, I think I don't need to see Blade fight Galactus. I want to see Blade doing what he's going to do. And I want to see him thrive in his space.
Right.
Because that's what I love is when I see, and that's what I loved about this last Spider-Man. I really love that, like, it was Spider-Man against Spider-Man villains doing Spider-Man things and thriving. It was so good. And it reminded me of like, oh yeah, I would love to see Tom Holland in another crossover, but I'm going to relish these moments when he is on his own in a Spider-Man crossover because that's where Spider-Man shines,
Sure.
And I hope She-Hulk follows the comics, the newest run, where it's a courtroom drama because it was the new run where she like does a case for Captain America and stuff. She does a case for old Captain America. Just amazing. Really hard-hitting, amazing stuff.
That'd
The
be really
art
cool,
is
yeah.
kind of bad because they had to switch artists multiple times through the run and but I'll get the name of the one that I'm talking about, but like it's one that came out I think like 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, but it's so good. At one point, she takes on a case against Doctor Doom on behalf of his son, like and so during the day, it's a courtroom drama, and then at night, it's her, like, either doing security for her clients or trying to get evidence and stuff with Hellcat, with Patsy. Um, so good.
It's a great way to keep
So,
that
I
show
think
relevant. 100%.
yeah, I think it's gonna fracture, and I think that's okay.
Yeah, I
Um
agree with you. Um, I, that also being said, like, it doesn't necessarily make sense for the Guardians to come back and ever interact with Daredevil, right? Like, there's no reason for that ever to occur unless it's some sort of like cosmic threat. And at that point, Daredevil's gonna be like, dude, I'm a blind lawyer. Like, what the fuck do you want me doing in space?
Yeah.
Like, I can't. I'm sorry the world's gonna end. I'm gonna go help Punisher or something, right? Like, yeah, I agree with that for sure. And if that's where we're going, that's cool. I think we're still a pretty long ways off, and they're just gonna keep doing the team ups, right? Team ups being like
Yeah.
smaller scale team ups, where you get known superheroes in the
Sorry.
same film.
Okay.
So, no, that's it.
I was just looking at my notes and realized we forgot to discuss a really important one.
What's that?
One of my minor notes, this is just a minor one that's like really depressing.
Okay.
Y'all, I didn't even think about that. Your pets would die during the snap. Y'all, that shit sent me. They opened the movie with that where he's like, both my cats died while I was snapped. I was like,
dude, hold on.
Yo,
That guy was an asshole, though. That guy was a prick.
know, but like, I know,
his
but
cats
like,
weren't assholes.
yo,
His cats weren't
thought about
assholes,
that.
right? But
I got anxiety. I was like, imagine chat, you get snapped. Who's taking care of your pet?
But he also said his brother died too, so like
like I don't know why. That just like I was like, who wrote that? That's so mean. That's so mean to write that. That like,
But
oh,
it's,
while you were
you know,
gone, your pets died. Like,
yeah, but in any feelings of sorrow that I had for that man were immediately lost when he called him out for like not marrying Christine.
Nah, you know what?
He did it in such a
You know
like
what?
he
That
did it
guy-
in such a fuck you, Doctor Strange, you're a superhero, but I'm still gonna get your ass.
like,
know what?
listen
I
here, Thanos.
like-
If you dust me, you better dust my fucking cat. I'm just saying, you better dust my fucking cat too.
I like that they exist in a world where superheroes are like chilling next to normal people, and those normal people are not afraid to be like, yeah, you did the best you could. That was the best you could do. I think that's the realest shit they could have done. That's absolutely.
I think it
what
works with like Spider-Man, but when it's Doctor Strange, like fuck off.
He knew him before he was Doctor Strange. He knew him when he was just a doctor, like an asshole doctor.
Yeah, that is true.
So,
that
and
is
I think
true.
that like
So here's the big one. Here's a big thing that I realized we didn't touch on yet.
What's that?
There's a Kang reference.
Where's the Kang reference?
The incursion Doctor Strange. He says when we're defeated, and he says defeated by whom? Am I the only crazy one? He's at like the end of time, and he's
he
like,
definitely didn't say like he was coy in that conversation. He
"That's
didn't
Kang.
say
It has to be Kang.
he didn't say he didn't say who, right? So I 100% was like, is this gonna be a Kang reference? He says he lost. Who'd he lose to? And then nothing. So I don't know.
It has to be Kang. It has to be Kang.
But if it's
He's
Kang,
sitting at the end of fucking time.
if it's Kang though, then the thing with Kang is like it's multiple. He wants to take over the multiverse, not a universe, right? So I don't think we've seen anything of Kang yet, apart from Loki. I definitely thought there was going to be a Kang reference somewhere in this film. I think that's an open-ended reference. I don't know if that's a Kang reference though.
But that's
it's
why I'm asking.
open-ended, but it's a heavy illusion.
Could be. It's only a heavy
That's
illusion
like
because we know Kang exists.
That's why I keep asking when this all all the new properties that we're seeing, when do they take place? Because to me, it seems like we literally had, it has to be after Kang, but how is everyone not like, holy shit, who is this guy who came out of nowhere who like is running everything? Like,
sure.
I have so many questions about everything now.
We do know that the whole reason that this happened because of, I mean, at the premiere, at the red carpet premiere, this was understood, but Feige was out there straight up saying like the events in Loki led to the events in Spider-Man No Way Home, which led to the events in this, right? So he set up a timeline and like officially said that, which we didn't report in the news because I think everyone kind of understood that. But with that said, I think that's some sense of a timeline, right? Like Kang's still out there doing Kang shit. We just don't know where. Apart from the TVA.
Is the answer.
Yeah,
like,
you might be right. It might be everywhere.
At this point in time, every Kang is a possibility, which is the sort of whole idea with Kang. Like that's the fun part of Kang is like Kang is everything. There's like 80 freaking Kangs, which is what's great about it. But it's also, again, like we need to start, you know how Thanos starts showing up? Be like, I don't do it myself. Like we need little people somewhere. Someone needs to say like, this dude is, we need to watch out for this guy. No one's mentioning it at all.
In some ways,
I think that was them mentioning it.
A little bit. I think that stuff existed back in those days because that's what they could tease because that's what the audience knew, if that makes sense. Now,
but
like you can tease so fucking much because the audience is so clued in.
But the teases, it isn't like. I still can't figure out why he got a third eye. It was not explained. It was weird and neat and fun.
I don't.
But like
you guys don't like to say the D word, but the Darkhold did something.
Great. So the Darkhold gave him a third eye, even though all the copies were burnt by Wanda because she's actually.
It still manipulates.
Like, he gains his third eye, and so like, all right, that's fun. But then the man gets a third eye and is like, ah! Cut.
That was weird.
Movie ends.
Yes, that was weird.
Yeah, movie ends.
That was Sam Raimi saying, fuck you, I'm Sam Raimi. That's what that was.
Yeah, well, absolutely. It was a Sam Raimi ending. Absolutely. Yeah. And the first post-credit scene is him being like, I'm walking down the street. Oh, Cleo, what's going on? She's like, are you a bitch? You're going to come with me. He's like, I'm no bitch. Third eye. You're like, wait a minute. You just ended with him getting it and being like, ah! And then now he's like, my buddy Third Eye and I are going to come with you on an adventure. And then there's another post-credit scene, and it's literally just the goof of like, finally, the guy punching himself and stop punching himself, which is, again, Sam Raimi.
That's Sam Raimi being Sam Raimi, yeah.
But it's also just like, I'm now more confused than I have ever been at any point in time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, I don't know what is going on with this franchise of films. No idea where we're going. Couldn't fucking tell you. I have no idea how a God Butcher is going to fit into any of this in any way that's going to be like...
That's going to be self-contained. Which is going to kind of suck.
I mean, I just don't... Bro, I don't know. And it's driving me crazy because I love, like... I can see the plan. It all checks out, makes sense. I'm at the same level of worried as when I went through the 3 new Star Wars movies. And I was like, where's this franchise? What is the next one even going to be about? What is this? What is, like, from the first one to the second one to the third one, they were all over the place. And I just am like, I'm a little worried. Not that I think Doctor Strange was bad. I don't think it was bad at all. I think it was,
you're just addressing the MCU at large. Yeah.
MCU at large. Totally, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm just like, what is going to happen now? And we really aren't getting any answers. They're setting up a lot of things, and admittedly, that's fine. But our first movie that should have had a payoff had zero payoff. Like, if you're gonna have a movie with Wanda and in a universe where Wanda has we're acknowledging in the movies kids, and she's the Scarlet Witch and the Darkhold, 3 things from WandaVision. Why are we not acknowledging literal the other half of the show? Vision. Why is it? And like, because that thread was not pulled on, every thread that they throw out there, every line they cast, I am now convinced they're just like, let's Warcraft this shit. And let's pull things back when we need it. And when we don't, leave it out there forever. Because fuck it. And that is the reason why I'll lose my mind. I will go become a crazy person.
If
I'll be the
they
guy who's
Warcraft
like,
the shit out of this.
the statue! Look, 15 years of Warcraft and them being bad at telling stories, I refuse to accept it here. Marvel, you better explain what the fuck that giant statue's doing in the ocean.
Speaking of statues, someone from my chat, I don't know, I didn't see it, says they passed a statue of Kang when they're flying through all the dimensions before the vomit scene.
I don't. So there
troll
was.
hentai
That's one of those things I want to see again in a second viewing because I think there's a lot of information. They definitely passed through. God damn it! Not the. What's the three-headed? There's a three-headed guy that we thought was in the TVA, the Tribunal. They definitely passed by like a straight up living Tribunal statue, and I think that might be what the person's referencing as being a statue. Because there are like, I thought it was just straight up living Tribunal, and I thought they were going to be in the show a lot more because there was in one of the trailers in like Wanda's chaos magic thing, they're kind of behind her. So I thought they were going to be popping up, but they've done a lot of references to the like greater cosmic power beings multiple times, but the only people that have really like straight up talked and shown them is Eternals, and like that's Jesse's whole issue. So we know all about that. But yeah, like living Tribunal is a big deal.
The living Tribunal is a big deal. How do we feel about the Illuminati not having Tony Stark?
I think you guys nailed it when we talked about it. Like you can't do that with Iron Man.
You can't recast him. Yeah.
I think you both were correct. I wanted to fucking. How crazy would it have been if fucking Tom Cruise was in this film on that Tribunal? It would have been crazy.
Here's the thing. Everyone would have been like, that's crazy. And I think the worry that Bronze and I had would have been immediately removed because the idea of including Krasinski or all these actors, bringing them on for these roles, like to have Tony Stark show up and be Tom Cruise
and just
even if you're
destroyed.
Yeah, even if you're off put, the idea that like he could have been manhandled, I would have been like,
dude, I bet you I bet you they approached Tom Cruise for that. It's like, great, yeah, I'm on board. And then they're like, by the way, we're going to brutally murder you. Never mind, I'm out. I'm getting out of this project. Nobody kills Tom Cruise except Tom Cruise.
For Peggy Carter. I almost feel bad.
Yeah.
I did love that she got to say I could do this all day. But I did feel bad for it. Like, because it somehow gave this impression that, like, the Monica Rambeau / like, Peggy Carter versions weren't as cool as the 616 version. That like, regardless of how you feel, based off of that choreography, based off of how quickly they were defeated, that is the impression.
Yeah.
That did make me feel a little bad. I was like, oh, well, I really kind of wish that, like, Peggy, like, I don't know. I wish that had maybe gone a little differently.
I agree. I think I think our boy Mr. Boltigan got kind of fucked. He's definitely the strongest out of all those people there.
Oh, if we're gonna go power I knew levels, that was going to happen because the audience didn't know it.
Right.
You know,
and,
like
and because he's not a known character, he's going to be the first to go. 100%. Yeah.
But
he also shouted someone to death. He said, "I'm sorry." He whispered, "I'm sorry."
He did to Doctor Strange. Fucking
just,
like, but like also
made them not exist.
Maybe I'm remembering this incorrectly, but doesn't Reed Richards say, "This is our guy," and he'll just, if he says a word, he'll kill you, to her? Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, okay. Why do that, you big?" Oh my god.
Well, he's not
Reed,
the smartest
dummy.
Of Reed.
No,
he's
clearly he's the dumbest of Reeds, because literally the ace in the hole is this dude who just opens his mouth and kills people, vaporized Doctor Strange, and he's like, well, he literally did the Hulk thing. He's like, we've got a Blackguard Bolt again, and Blackguard Bolt is like, hi, instantly killed. I was like,
no, what's funny is
shut
like,
up,
he theoretically could have, right?
Yeah.
Like if Reed didn't fumble there, like he actually could have unraveled.
Yes, it's so upsetting the more you think about it. You're like, Reed, you suck.
That was kind of Reed's like arrogance coming through, I think, in some way. Like that is, You're
But
100%
it's
right.
wild,
But
'cause, like, reflecting back on that scene, something that really stood out to me, was how afraid they are of Doctor
oh,
Strange,
Strange?
but,
Yeah.
like, how unafraid they are of Wanda.
Of
But
Wanda,
people still keep
yes.
having these arguments saying, "Oh, well, who's more powerful?" And I'm like, Doctor Strange
Bronze,
had these folks shitting themselves, like,
Bronze, I'm gonna be
and
dead honest with you. The only
I
person
don't
that
wanna
has
hear
that
it.
is
I
you. I
don't
have
wanna
never
hear it.
seen this conversation.
There's articles right now. There's articles right now.
I
There's
never hear
articles
about
right
this except
now.
for you bringing
It's
it
not just
up.
Wanda, it's everybody. It was the same conversation with Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel's the most powerful Avenger. This is like it always happens. I don't You're a boomer, so I don't know what Twitter you're on. The one the rest of us are
Might be
on, these
true.
people constantly talking about, like, "Oh, who's the most powerful? Who's the most powerful?" So I thought it was interesting 'cause by my approximation, that was Scarlet Witch. But, like, seeing them be like, "Yeah, we don't care about that, like, we're worried about you." I was like, "Whoa." Like, what did he do? Like, I legit was like, "Yo, did, like, Doctor Strange, like, make mincemeat out of Thanos?" And they were all like, "Oh, shit." You know, like, 'cause I was like,
I
"They
could
are
tell you why.
terrified of this man. They
I
are terrified of this man."
I could tell you why, but you
Meanwhile,
have to say the D word. He was corrupted by the Darkhold.
he legitimately told them, "My version of Wanda has a Darkhold," and they're like, "Yeah, we don't care. You are a problem."
Well,
Because
also
they know
that
the Darkhold and Doctor Strange. They don't know Wanda, the Darkhold.
right. But
But he
they're
told
aware of
them
the
that
power of
she
the
had the
Darkhold. They have
Darkhold.
experience with the Darkhold.
Yeah.
Surely they would have noticed the same thing when Wanda shows up,
Yeah,
having
and he
murdered
told
so
them,
many
didn't he?
people.
Like,
They,
in the
they
when he was facing
yes,
them,
he
he
told
said,
them
"My
she
Wanda has the Darkhold." Yeah,
Oh,
and she's
100%. Yeah.
dreamwalking. And they were
and
like,
they have
"Oh, whatever."
knowledge of what the Darkhold does, and they did not act on it because they tried to save a person who wasn't even the look.
Oh, the
They went
Illuminati
after
are
the
arrogant
person.
idiots. So I
They were
won't fight
more
you on
but
that.
that doesn't make sense for Illuminati. They were more afraid of the person that didn't have the Darkhold than they were of the person who did.
I
Look,
mean,
if you want to go into more
Like, to
detail
me, that was kinda
about Thanos'
wild.
death in that universe, go
about who?
back. Well, on second view on Thanos' death, go back on second viewing.
Oh, an 838.
On when they're on, I assume Titan.
Yeah, it looked
When they're
like
on
Titan.
Titan
Yeah,
or whatever, the bottom
it's in the bottom
right
right. He
hand
was like
corner,
speared or some shit, right?
he's literally sitting there like I think maybe his like an axe or something's in him, or his glaive is in
Yeah.
him, and uh that's how they killed him. They stabbed him with his own thing. So it wasn't like, and then Doctor Strange used space magic. No, dude got stabbed by his own weapon, and they were like, Doctor Strange, you have to die, and he's like, all right. Like, oh, okay.
Well, it
So if
was.
they're gonna do that to him, Wanda, the minute she showed up having taken over the other Wanda's body, they should have been like, shit, we're gonna have to vaporize her. Because if they're gonna do that to their friend, they should have been like, it's a shame. It's a
Especially because
shame.
they were talking about how, um, using the Darkhold in general was, like, an offense.
Yes.
They were saying,
Literally,
like
the man is on the
they were
couch like,
literally saying, like
Strange.
yeah.
Fucking Mordo's like,
Oh, that was more. I
Strange.
thought that was your Xavier.
That was my Mordo. I love the way he says strange, like strange.
I th I was like, "That's not very good,
Yeah.
Xavier." If it's a Mordo, it's actually
No,
pretty
that's what he
good.
says. Is
I've
like,
never seen
Mordo
a Mordo.
dying? Yeah,
strange.
what happened here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I'm
But,
saying
like,
is that
it's really
Mordo
interesting because, like yeah. Yeah, no,
Mordo should have said something.
they're more like, it was weird because they kept saying, like, his use that the reason they killed him is they couldn't trust him to not use the Darkhold again. They, like, kinda
But
specify that, if I remember.
am I Mr. Didn't he like say you've got to kill me?
Yes, because
Yeah.
he couldn't be trusted to not use the Darkhold again. He said, "Hey, guys."
Right.
He
Right.
confessed everything to them. He's like, "Hey, guys, I used the Darkhold,
Yeah. It wasn't. They
and
didn't
it's
deem
all
him to
bad,
die. He
and I
killed himself.
Right,
created
but
an
they have
incursion."
experience.
And
They
he said, "I
know that
created
that
an
the man said,
incursion."
"Kill me."
Yeah.
I mean,
He's like, "I made an entire universe died because of me."
they
He's
didn't go
probably
out and
carrying the guilt of that.
they didn't go out and
And then
offer
he
Wanda
says
cookies. They fucking went to go kill her. Like, what?
no, they did.
And
They literally were like, "Hey, don't do this. It's not." They kinda did offer her cookies. They did not open fire on her. They were like, "Listen, you don't need to do this. Don't worry about this. You know, like, we have a guy here that can kill you. We don't wanna do that. Maybe it's time to go home. But if they knew that the Darkhold makes you mad, like, why would they do that? They should know that she's not reasonable. She's under Darkhold influence. If the D word is the MacGuffin and they have experience with it,
guys,
why
hold on. So in your
Blackguard died, and they
let me
still
talk
had a
for
conversation
fucking
with
5
her.
seconds in the show. So you're telling me you want them to walk outside, see Wanda, fucking just kill her in seconds, and then you're gonna be like, yes, that's a hell of a plot right there. That worked for me.
I would have loved
Are you
that.
fucking mad? Are you guys in the Darkhold? What the fuck are you talking about? That's not how you make a movie story. You don't just go and
Well, I would have
the
included
fucking
Wanda anyway, but
I'm not saying that, that would have been that's what they should have done. I'm just saying that they clearly thought.
Hold on. You want me to roll back the VOD? That's literally what you two just said. Like verbatim.
That's what Jesse said. What I'm saying is, I don't think the Darkhold makes you mad that quickly. They clearly thought they could talk to her, just like they clearly talked to Doctor Strange, who had used the Darkhold extensively to the point that he created an incursion and still had the presence of mind to say, "You know what? Just kill me, fam." Like, 'cause I'm a threat. So because it's clear that they really truly thought that, like, "Oh, she can be reasoned with," you know? But then it seems like and other times they're like, "No, the Darkhold, like, that's why she crazy, y'all, 'cause the Darkhold, the Darkhold, the Darkhold." And I'm like,
well, she was crazy, one, because the Darkhold, but she also lost her kids and wanted that. I think we're leaving out like
her kids.
Well, she says by her own admission that it's her husband.
They were.
She says by her own admission that, like, it was her husband.
They were totally real.
The kids weren't real.
They weren't fucking real. None of it was real. The only real thing is that her husband is still alive, and they don't address it.
They were totally real. I don't.
They're not real.
White Vision is now the statue of flying men that are in the ocean. It doesn't make any sense. It's all the
Vision died.
This is where we're at.
I don't know what else to say. Vision died. Those kids were real.
No, Vision didn't die. Those kids were fake.
Okay, we watched 2 different shows.
Vision's alive. He put his body, he put his persona in that person.
Nah, he became White Vision, bro. He became White Vision.
Yeah, that's his boobs and beams.
To a certain extent.
He put the ones
to a certain extent.
They literally ship a feces dust. They talked about how it didn't matter that he was a different outside. It was the inside that counts. He gave him his boom. He gave him all his memories. And it was himself at the end. And he flew off to go figure out what was going on in his life. And he should have flown his ass back to Wanda so she didn't fucking kill half the galaxy. God damn it. I'm so mad. I hate it so much. Wanda sucks. I'm so mad at Wanda for existing.
Look, if you went with the...
You know, if I said that same thing, Jesse, JP would have jumped down my throat. Like, if I had said that same thing...
if you let me speak, I'll
but
jump down Jesse's throat.
You let Jesse get away with it. You never...
I can't even talk. I can't even jump down his throat. Are we good? Can I speak? Okay. I think we watched 2 different shows. Those kids are real. White Vision is not Vision. Now, if you would have went with, they did Wanda dirty by straight up just making her bad 5 seconds into the film, I'm on board with you, because I think that was really bad. They could have fleshed that character out a little bit more. I think they might have in a different film, because originally I think this film was supposed to be like 2 hours and 50 minutes or 2 hours 40 minutes, and they cut a shit ton of it. So there's probably some character building in that regard. But that's the only thing I had issues with, is they just turned her into the straight bad guy. And when Bronze kept saying, like, I wonder, like, Wanda's not going to be the bad guy the entire movie, I was totally on board with you. I wanted a different bad guy for that. But we didn't get that at all. She was the ultimate baddie in the movie.
It makes no sense for that transition to happen the way it did. It just doesn't. Her becoming the full-on baddie for this film, it makes no... Again, why does WandaVision exist then? Why? Any character growth is negated, instantly negated.
I mean...
And all it did was serve to her, for her to get the Darkhold, and then for them not to explain how she got the Darkhold. And then...
From Agatha.
But I mean, we know that.
Oh, you mean the moviegoers.
The movie doesn't
moviegoers. I don't know how movie... I'm actually curious in hearing someone's POV who hasn't seen WandaVision, because that's probably like really weird to just
super confusing. Yes.
Hear about this book that has never been mentioned before in the MCU. Like, we know what that is, but, like, if you haven't seen that show, does that hold up at all?
They harp on it enough. Like, when they first introduce it, it's definitely like, oh, the Darkhold, blah, blah, blah. But then they start to explain somewhat what it is in terms of where, like, oh, the Darkhold doesn't exist. Oh, but then it's in a temple. Oh, it was a copy, blah, 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 blah. Oh, there's the what is it? The foil to the Darkhold, which is the Vishanti
That
book.
temple threw me for a loop. So, like, they use a lot of, like, references, like, that are very clearly Indian, like, even the word, like, Vishanti sounds Indian.
Yeah.
But, like, they straight up had Hindi in the demon temple. Like, legit.
In what
Yeah, on the
part?
wall.
Oh, really?
When they go to, like, the temple, it's like there's, like, the circular thing, and he's talking about how, when the first demon was born or whatever, that he carved, like, these evil runes into the walls, and it was straight up Hindi, like, in a circle. It
Does it
goes by
say
so
anything?
quickly, I didn't get a chance to read it.
Oh,
I would need to, like, have it on DVD and pause it
yeah.
because it's, like, in a circle or sort of and it, like, the camera pans across it, and I wasn't able to read what it said, but it was, like, straight up in Hindi. Like, it wasn't, like, arcane, and I thought that was interesting too, where I was like, if the Scarlet I just thought it was weird that, like,
The
the
origins
Scarlet
of it?
Witch to me, feels very European. Like,
Well,
it almost feels
yeah.
like a foil, but then to, like, Doctor Strange, which feels a lot more rooted in, like, Nepal and, like, Eastern, like, religiousness. I always viewed, like, Scarlet Witch as being, like and everything from, like, what Agatha was talking about as, like, European witchcraft and European type of vibes,
Mhm.
which is very different. But then, like, the temple had Hindi in it, and I was like, "Wait, which country are we in? Where is this temple?
They
Where
didn't
is
really
this
say anything about where it was
mountain?"
just up on a mountain. That part was also a little bit, I was kind of like, yeah, it's a little bit random fucking temple. Looks kind of derpy. This is the source of like chaos magic. That was it was a little bit kind of silly.
It was confusing. I was like, "Why is it in Hindi?" But
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. This is random
Yeah.
tidbit of knowledge.
Can I just pitch how it should have ended to you really quickly? I just thought of this. The entire movie talks about like multiple copies of yourselves and the fact there's multiple Darkholds, and each universe apparently has its own Darkhold.
Right.
And there are all these different Wandas and all these different Doctor Stranges, and Wanda keeps trying to take over the body of another one. Wouldn't it have been wild is if our Wanda was taken over by another Wanda, and the evil witch who was the entire time like, gotcha, bitch, right? If the Scarlet Witch was like a different thing, just poising that question so that all of the like multi-universal body takeovers was like a Wandaception.
Could
just
be.
Put it out there.
I don't
just Final Fantasy aiding it. Just putting it out there.
I think the idea, and this is something that I think they do kind of fail, and we already talked about this to some extent, is I think it's the idea that she becomes the Scarlet Witch, which is a Nexus entity, which there's only one Scarlet Witch, which I think I did not understand until chat pointed that out. I think what happened in WandaVision is what creates the Scarlet Witch. So there's no other way for that to occur because that's the only Scarlet Witch in the multiverse, right? And so I don't think that could happen by what they have canonically set up. Does that make sense, Jesse?
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, they can set up anything they want is the real answer.
Oh, that's true. That's
totally,
factual.
Yeah. Well, hey, here's another thing. If all dreams are just multiverse, I'm gonna every time if we see a dream from now till the end of my life in the MCU, I'll be like, oh, that's a multiverse dream.
Yeah.
That's a weird setup to me. I think it's clever in the context of the film, but hey, if we see any dreams anytime,
but also,
now I'm like, also, Muscles, I'm just gonna say this, it wasn't written in Hindi and Punjabi, I can promise you that because I read and write both of those languages. It was written in Hindi, which shares the same language as Sanskrit. It's like the difference between English and Old English. So this is your learning moment, take it and go.
Yeah.
But because people keep saying, "Oh, it's not Hindi." It's Hindi. It's the same letters. I promise you. I went to school in India. It's not Gujarati. It's Hindi letters.
I'm gonna have to
So
see
me
a
saying
diploma,
Hindi is not
Bronze.
incorrect. I went to school there for 10 years, and so I know for sure. मुझे हिंदी
believe you.
बोलनी आती है, पंजाबी बोलनी आती है, अंग्रेज़ी भी बोलनी आती है, मुझे सब समझ आता है, पढ़नी भी आती है, लिखनी भी आती है.
I
Anyways,
hope I don't have to
I mean,
take the
yeah.
VOD down, but yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you. You
I
know?
mean, yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I know for sure. Even the
As
Indian
long as
people
you
in my
didn't
channel
just
were
call
like,
someone
"Yeah,
like
it was in
a
Hindi."
member of the Aryan Brotherhood or something like what's going
No,
on.
I
No, that
didn't.
already
Oh my
happened. It should do it
god.
in
Oh
English.
my god.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was worried.
No,
Should do
I
that
was
in
saying I
English.
know. Yeah, I would do that in English. If I say that, I want
Okay.
you to understand it. It's okay. I have this issue with Marvel dispensing of villains, like, or good characters too quickly.
Yes, I agree.
And so when I came into this, I actually said, and this is as someone who's not a fan of Wanda, I said, I would like for this to be a major villain after Kang. Like, I would like for there to be setup here and, like, some growth or something like that. To the point that, like, even Professor X actually alludes to it. He makes a reference, in my opinion, to Dark Phoenix. When he lets Strange go, I'm trying to remember the line. He says something about how,
It says don't have fear or something like that.
I'm trying to remember what exactly that. Oh, God, there's a line he says that to me was a direct parallel of, like, Jean Grey being
In our
possessed by the
story.
Phoenix Force.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what that line was.
Isn't it? It was something
but
about being redeemable or like even the most
yeah.
evil people are redeemable or some shit like that.
Okay, yes, thank you. Hawkeye in my chat says, "Just because someone loses their path doesn't mean they are lost forever."
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
says
Yeah.
that. Now, at the time, I was like, maybe he's talking about his version of Doctor Strange. But I was like, but we saw that guy get obliterated. And I immediately thought, maybe this is like a kind of small reference to his own Scarlet Witch, right? Which was kind of like the dark, like,
It was,
Dark
yeah.
Phoenix.
That's what happens in the cartoons, which is, I think, it gets weird because they reference like X-Men 97. So is that supposed to be Professor X from that show?
X-Men 97. I mean,
this could be the universe of X-Men 97, which Bronze is correct because that was the Dark Phoenix saga in that show.
In which case,
I buy that.
I do think, like, maybe that's what he's thinking of. Like, maybe it's like that's why he lets him go, is he's like,
yeah,
you know. But then that's furthermore what upsets me about the writing and the rest of the movie is they kind of start setting up that train of thought, and then they go someplace with it with Doctor Strange, but they don't with Wanda. If that makes sense.
I guess her redeeming moment is when she like eliminates the Darkhold across all universe or all multiverses and then crashes the temple. Basically like eliminating that from existence. I guess.
Yeah.
That's all I can really grasp
weird.
at. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah. All right. So even though it's not a confirmation, I just really quickly went to go look up the different like Professor X's and the Professor X that's like the James McAvoy / like that one. Him and Patrick Stewart have that wheelchair that has like the X,
the yellow
on the side.
Or the silver.
No, they have
the silver one. Yeah,
they have the silver wheelchair. Yeah, but
the yellow's 97.
Professor X from the 1997 cartoon has this yellow floaty chair plus the green jacket, and the one in the movie, yellow floaty chair, green jacket. Like, I fully believe that's what they're going for.
I think so. I mean, I remember in the credits, in the music credits, when they list all the music, they listed all the music. Funny enough, all the classical stuff from that battle, which I thought was pretty funny, because it was just one note most of the time or one string. And then they mentioned or listed the X-Men tune for X-Men 97. And when he rolls out onto the Illuminati stage, there's like the piano that plays of the theme, which was kind of a little strange, funny enough, but it worked out, right? Like it's there for the small group of nerds like us that are like, oh my God, it's fucking X-Men 97 theme. But yeah, then you put Blackagar Bolt again in there, and you're like, so many people had no idea. They just laughed at his name. And I think that's why he got killed off so fucking fast. I think if that ABC show would have done better. By the way, was that the same actor from the ABC show? Does anyone know?
Yes, it is the same actor. Yep.
Man, could you imagine you finally get the call and you're like, hey, you want to be in a movie? And he's like, we fucking made it. You're going to say one word and then you're going to get your fucking head imploded.
You get dragged by Doctor Strange for 15 minutes.
Yeah, and then your head's going to get imploded.
Yeah.
God, that's got to suck. Yeah.
I will say this version of Professor X is like so nice.
Yeah.
Like that's not
like
what he's like.
He's kind of a dick in the comics, right?
Oh my God, he's so mean.
Yeah.
Like he's not a nice person. He's a fucking savage that does what needs to happen to keep the X-Men safe, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so that's why he's a perfect, like him and Magneto are opposite sides of the same coin. Like, so it's just wild to see how nice he is. Like, even when he's like in there and he's like trying to get Wanda out of the rubble, he's like, I'm going to get you out and then you'll be in possession of your body again. I was like, oh my God.
That's cool.
Professor X in the comics is like, he puts her in a mind prison and is just
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like sitting there crying like, oh, or she's playing with her kids and he's like, your kids aren't real, Wanda. And he like makes them disappear and he's like, you're delusional, Wanda. You're a threat to yourself and mutant kind, Wanda.
Yeah.
And then he just comes back and he's like, listen, the prison's not going to hold forever. We might need to murder Wanda. And I'm like, oh. That's like the actual House of X. He's just like, this bitch is crazy.
Yeah.
He traps her in her own brain. And I was like, theoretically, he could have done that here. But instead, he's like, I'm going to help you get out from under this rubble, sweetie. And I'm just like.
And then he got his neck snapped. And like a crazy, kind of
she
shock.
Dreamceptioned him.
Dude, he he grabs her head from the smoke, kind of a jump scare moment. And then his head gets fucking twisted. A lot of the jump scares were pretty, as someone who hates jump scares, I like them a lot in this film. Apart from the weird moment, and I wasn't really sure what happened when they're on their way through the sewer tunnels, and they're all just staring at the door in this most bullshit Sam Raimi moment where the music starts to go quiet. And they're all
then she just comes from around the corner.
And then she just pops up out of nowhere in a smoke form. Like she's fucking Alucard or some shit. I didn't understand that. I think she came through the light.
Jump scares. I didn't like the jump scares. But that's just me. I think I just always hate them. And there were a lot in this movie where I jumped. Mother fucking fuck shit. Fuck. It happened
that's
3 times.
You got what you got.
Yeah.
And I don't like them. I don't like jump scares. I mean, especially because I'm never expecting them an MCU movie, and I'm always like, fuck, every time, and I'm like, shit. I said it out loud too.
Right. Yeah, I enjoyed them in this. As someone who truly hates scary films, I didn't mind them. I also think the only person that could have given us a Doctor Strange that has what do they call the bodies from when he takes over the corpse? What does he call the people that are going to come get him that he asked for protection from?
Spirits?
Oh,
the spirits of the damned or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever those things are called. The only person that give us a Doctor Strange that has a spirit of the damned cloak with a shit ton of hands allow him to fly is Sam Raimi. I was
fire,
like, oh my
dude.
God, when they did that,
awesome.
Oh my God, that shit was sick. That was sick.
I was screaming. You know what was funnier to me? Wong being like, yeah. I thought Wong would be like, heresy.
Yeah.
Heresy. Instead, Wong was
yeah. Wong fights a Hulk man in an underground combat ring for fun, and they're buddies.
Well,
I love that.
When he first saw it, didn't he go he said something strange or of course strange or something like that, didn't he? In kind of a weird upset parent moment, and then he said oh, of course you're doing this, blah blah blah. I think that's what happened, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't want to know. He says, I don't want to know. That's the line. That's true.
That's what I want more of. If they're gonna like start getting far out, if they're doing this, give me more of that shit.
I mean, they
Take
did
us
it
out.
in this.
Like I want, like the more I saw of that, the more I'm ready for Thor to have like a boat with goats on it and travel through the stars. I'm ready for this. I want it to be weird.
I think that's also where Clea is coming from.
Oh, in the same realm of craziness.
It's a spirit demon thing. I really do, because like at one point they have like he bends all those spirits to like his will. And then I know that at least in the comics, I don't know if it's going to be true in this, that there are demons in the dark realm.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if they're going to be kind of like interchangeable, and
Could
like
be.
then he takes control of all of them, sticks them on Wanda, and then that portal America Chavez opens is like straight to hell.
Straight to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely had that thought for a minute where I was like, I wonder if manipulating all those spirits and bending them to his will, if that fucked with things in the dark dimension, or it was like too much of a trespass.
Could be.
That he was like floating, because they possessed his body. Like they were gonna take him under, and then like Christine nukes 3 of them, and then he like bends them to his will. I wonder if that created like a like a power shift or something in the dark dimension where Clea's like,
Are
"Hey,
you saying
think it's cute that you bent 8 demons to your will? It's not cute. You fucked up."
You're saying Mephisto is real, Bronze? Is that what you're getting at here?
I don't think it's impossible.
I think he could be real.
Are you saying the
I
only
don't
way to
think it's
fight Mephisto
impossible.
is with the powers of
dark magic?
A vampire man,
I think so.
and a guy with a magic sword, and then like a dude who hangs out with the moon gun? Wouldn't that be Midnight Suns fun?
I think that would be
No, I
some
do
action
think,
that only takes place at midnight. Yeah.
Y'all, this movie kicked the door wide open for demon shit. It really truly did. They reference hell. They reference like damnation. They reference like, oh, if you use the Darkhold, like even they actually kind of created their own self-fulfilling prophecy there, where even though every single Darkhold is destroyed, its corruption remains. Every person that's used it is kind of carrying a piece of the void with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he's irreparably connected to it now. Like he's tied to maybe the dark dimension. Like I don't know, he's tied to
something evil. Yeah. I mean, Wong even, you get a moment where Wong's like, "Hey, you doing all right? Are you good?" And the idea, the question that the other Strange posed to him, like, "Are you happy?" That definitely fucked with him. He brought it up again with Wong, so we might be going down some sort of path right there. What if? Here's a question that I posed to the two of you to see how much you're gonna hate this. What if Doctor Strange 3 is the inverse, or maybe a Wanda film, where Wanda comes back to save Strange from going fucking crazy because he goes too crazy with this Darkhold shit? Is that full circle enough?
No.
No?
No. I would be furious if Wanda saved Doctor Strange. I'd be like, how dare they do this?
I think Wanda's great when she's just chaotic. I think them playing this double of the grieving mother and that, it just didn't work for me. I wish at some point she was just like, one way or the other. Because like Jesse said, if you try to make it the story where she's like justified, it does begin to fall apart. And now that Jesse pointed out, like, who was those kids' dad? I was like, oh shit, I actually didn't.
She created them.
That Wanda created them?
Yeah, I think it's implied that WandaVision happened in all those universes.
Okay, but if that's the case, then couldn't Wanda just recreate her kids?
Yeah.
That is a plot hole. Yeah.
That's a huge
like she made a dude's mouth go away. Why can't she just be like, and kid?
She literally pulled Reed Richards apart.
That I don't think I can
like string
that.
cheese.
I don't have the knowledge to combat that.
This was my issue with her killing America Chavez, because she's like, what if my kids get sick? I was like, couldn't you just unsick them?
Yes.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be the same kids because she'd be making like that. I can't.
Wait,
I don't have a problem with that. I don't know about the Why couldn't she just make new kids? I guess maybe the same thing with the disease moment of like curing them or whatever, is it wouldn't be the same kids. I guess. I don't know.
Jesse,
That's all I got.
I'm so upset about like what this movie contains. I'm gonna say like some of the best scenes we've ever seen in Marvel, and one of the most glaring, upsetting plot holes and character like it's crazy to me that I can love everything in this. At the same time, one storyline is so completely out of whack in my mind that I'm like it upsets me in ways you have like it is
but here's the
worse
thing.
than a giant statue. That's how
That's
much I hate
why
it.
those kids have to have a dad. Because if they were made by Wanda, I think the 616 Wanda would have perceived them as not being real. She would have done the same thing. I do think those kids are organic children.
I mean,
I
I
don't
guess
think-
they'd
'cause
have
I
to be.
maybe if she makes them, she's like, well, then these are just extensions of my will.
I
But,
guess
like-
that I guess the idea would be that the kids she had died, and she can never get those kids back. Because even if she creates them again, they're not those kids. So if she goes to another universe, again, I don't know. Craziness is what I keep circling back to. But you're right.
Because I was
That
going
one I
to say,
can't
these
defend.
kids didn't really die. They just, she let
They
the
ceased to
illusion
exist.
go.
That's what I'm saying. If they
'Cause,
weren't
like-
real to begin with, then
Because they weren't,
real.
they aged, they came to like full maturity in like a day, didn't they?
Yes,
They
that's what I'm
grew up
like.
so freakishly fast, it was like disturbing.
She had in that show
Uh-huh.
the grief of letting them go because it was the life that she couldn't have,
Mm.
not because she spent years raising those kids and she was losing the kid. She had those kids for a day and a half. It
Yeah,
wasn't her grief. Wasn't her grief in the show was acknowledging what had happened and not trying to pretend like it didn't exist. And in that she lost everything. But like the last shot wasn't her holding the kids like I love you kids. The last shot of everything fading was her and Vision. Again, it's insane to me that this was like it's all about those kids that nobody knows about or cares about. Tell me. Go ask like anyone who isn't an MCU crew like podcaster.
Okay.
Just go ask Nana. Like, Nana, you saw this movie. What'd you? And she'd be like, I don't know what that woman was doing. she seemed crazy to me because everything that she does in this film is like bonkers, y'all. It's bonkers from moment one. And the only explanation is like Darkhold got her. That's a stupid explanation. That sucks.
Look, I can't argue
not
the idea that it's
good.
stupid, but I can't keep circling back to it's Darkhold.
It's good.
Do they
I'm gonna keep
ever
talking about it until you pull the plug on the show because I can't stop. It
No,
upsets me that much.
It doesn't bother me, but
Do
I
they
just
ever
say Darkhold.
explain, because it's been, I don't remember, so it's a legitimate question.
Sure.
Do they ever explain like why she wants to study the Darkhold when she leaves?
No.
Well, no, she doesn't. It whisper. Doesn't she hear the kids inside of it, and then it kind of implants this idea that like she can have that life. Isn't that the whole basis of the thing? To reach her children?
That
I
is,
don't know.
again,
I'm asking.
I think that's
no,
what it is.
that is. This is the problem. This is the big problem with post credit scenes. That show ends, and the post credit scene, we do not see. I don't think we visibly see Wanda pick up the Darkhold.
Oh, she's sitting next to the Darkhold.
Oh no! You're absolutely correct. But I'm saying from the moment the place under her home or under Agatha's
house, yeah.
the Darkhold is being held. When Agatha is like warped back into, her neighbor form.
Yeah.
We don't see her take it. What we get is a post-credit scene in a forest where she is sitting there like blah, 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 and the Darkhold's there. And that's like what's this going to be about?
Yeah.
It rather than it be about like, we're going to learn how Wanda got the Darkhold, what we got was, well, she's had it for a while and it's corrupted her and we're going to move on with the story. And that to me is infuriating because what we got was a post-credit scene that was like titillating and kind of like, oh, interesting. But there is no explanation of why she decided to get it. There's no explanation of why she decided to like mess with it, even though she was told it was evil. There's none. But what we got was her messing with it, hearing her kids, and becoming obsessed. But like, there is no inciting incident that like her end in WandaVision is one that I thought was of peace. That's clearly not true. So again, why WandaVision? I just can't. You can't have both. You can't have like a story where Wanda becomes evil because of all the things in WandaVision and have WandaVision where she straight up comes to terms with everything that happened to her. You can't like
I don't
having
know
both.
if she ever came to terms with it.
But I thought that's what it was meant.
Yeah. That was my understanding that she was finally over the grief.
I think
or
she
not
was
over
always
it.
fucking crazy, y'all.
I mean, she did try to bang a robot, and everyone knows that's the craziest.
She fell for Vision.
No, she did.
You know what I'm saying?
I had the understanding that like at the end she had like come to kind of understand that like that life that she wanted wasn't really her life, and that she's like this being, the Scarlet Witch. Like she had embraced that, and that Wanda is gone now. So I thought one of two things was gonna happen. Either she was just gonna be batshit from here on out, or that like she wasn't gonna be as motivated by that grief because she understood that that life like wasn't meant for her. Instead, they kind of walked this in between line of playing both of those.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked her story in this movie more if she had actually started out the movie trying to help them and trying, kind of like Strange, to find a way.
That's what I said.
To like get what she wanted, but then finding out halfway through,
100%.
No, the only way, yeah.
The first scene you see her, you realize she's the bad guy. Like within 5 minutes. That sucks.
When she kills the apple orchard.
Yeah, that sucks. I didn't like that reveal at all.
You know what? I totally agree with you. I think that if they would have taken the beginning of this film to discuss like, why she has the Darkhold and like what her obsession with this, because the reveal, oh my god, it's handled so poorly. The reveal that all the monsters are Wanda's monsters is so, it's like instantaneous.
It's very fast.
It is. She's like, yes, I created that shit to chase her down. You're like, we're not even gonna have a mystery about like, you're absolutely right. If Wanda was with them the entire time and she was like, oh, I have the Darkhold, and Strange is like, I don't think you should. She's like, I'm the Scarlet Witch, bro. And everyone was like, oh, well, like if there was a whole thing, and like even if the smoke thing attacking the temple, if that was like monsters instead, she was there helping them, and it was like, oh, this is all betrayal, like Wanda the entire time. Like at least then we could have like seen the motivation behind what she was doing. Her motivation is so paper thin, it is glaring, and that's what drove me crazy, because what she's willing to do for something that's so like ephemeral is insane.
She's 100%. I agree with that. She's way too evil, way too fast.
Agree.
And you're just like, oh, that okay.
What else is weird is she talks in the beginning about like her grief and like how her husband basically died for nothing. She's like, oh, you know, you ripped that stone out of his head. He's dead, and for what? It didn't even mean anything. She actually like says like something along those lines, like it didn't mean anything.
I think didn't she kill? Does she say she says that to Steven? You ripped the stone out of his head?
Or no.
Yeah,
she says
doesn't.
She says you handed the time stone.
Yes, she said you handed the time stone to Thanos.
Is that why you handed the time stone?
She says I killed him for nothing.
Thanos?
Yeah.
Yes.
And she says I killed him for nothing because she's remembering that he killed him and then he reversed time and ripped it out of his head, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So she talks about this like, yeah, that's traumatic. She had to murder her husband. Ultimately, it didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Like that is painful. But then it comes back to like what Jesse's saying. If you could choose in a reality, why wouldn't you choose one in which Vision is alive? Like, I thought for sure, maybe this is my crazy brain, I thought for sure there was going to be a scene either in the Illuminati when they're fighting or in the household where Vision comes downstairs and he looks at her and he's like,
yes,
Wanda? And then she has this moment where she's like, oh, shit, I don't, like I thought there'd be something.
The fact that there was no one in this entire movie to like, everyone was like, Wanda, you have to stop. What you're doing is wrong. There was no one to like emotionally pull her back, right? There was no character that could like, bing,
no emotional pull to her.
Yeah, except for another Wanda who she manipulated and abused and had killed.
Oh, she beat the crap out of that woman. She buried her under rubble.
She was hobbling along, towards
there was no empathy. There was no empathy for her. I thought she was gonna have to fight Vision, and that was gonna be her turning moment. I thought for sure, I was like, Vision is gonna be like, "That's not my fucking wife," and, like, try to kill her, and she was gonna be like, "Viz, no," because that's, like, the one person she can't fight or she can't kill him again. But
I mean,
she specifically says at the beginning that killing him was so traumatic. I was like, I bet you that's gonna be the thing.
Oh, that would have been such a payoff if Vision came downstairs and saw her.
This is the one person. Yeah, I can't kill her. I can't kill him. Like, I'll kill even me, but not him. So I thought when America opened that portal, I thought I held my breath. I was like, the camera's gonna pan. It's gonna be Vision, and it wasn't. And I was like, oh. I was so disappointed in that moment. I was like, the camera's gonna pan and it's gonna be Viz, and it wasn't. And I was just like, could y'all not afford the actor for this movie?
I mean, here's the thing. The kids work because kids are relatable. Everyone knows what kids are. If one had kids, you don't necessarily need to have watched WandaVision to know that. If White Vision shows up,
relatable because
hold on. If White Vision shows up,
normal Vision
to mainstream audience, people are gonna be like, who the fuck is this? Why is Vision all white? What's going on? Why is he talking like he's not normal Vision? This is a different Vision. This is odd. Which I think is why they made the focus on the kid, because she has the dream about the kids.
No, but you're absolutely correct about White Vision. But I think what Bronze is referring to is when the star opens, she goes through and she sees the kids and she's like, "Hey, kids!" When they freak out, which by the way, there's a movie flub that I noticed immediately, and I don't know if the two of you saw it, but when the portal opens, when the star portal opens and they step through, the portal has been open and they've stepped through. So it's been open for, I don't know, 10 seconds at this point. The kids, only when the camera is back facing behind them, do the kids look up and go, ah, and freak out. So there's a 10-second period where a star portal appears in their home, and those kids are like, I guess playing something. They're like,
look, Jesse, you're just not saying the D word here. The Darkhold had control. No, I don't have any explanation.
But it definitely is one of those like weird. They clearly wanted to get their reaction of like them walking through the portal, but like the portal's been open for a significant amount of time now, and it's in their living room right in front of the TV. So those kids saw it.
What were they watching though? I mean, maybe they were watching the latest Jake Paul video.
They weren't watching the TV.
What if they were opening an unboxing of Pokemon cards, Jesse? I mean, no, they don't take their hit.
They were looking down. The kids were looking down.
That content.
But anyway, walking through the portal when the kids freak out, when she throws Wanda, if instead Vision had walked down the stairs and seen his Wanda under assault, and he like goes after her, and she sees Vision alive. If she like would if that would have been like the emotional punch she needed to stop her, then Vision can like, get in a few licks, and then other Wanda's like, stop, dude. Like she's like, this is at least then something would have made sense rather than Wanda going to Wanda being like, I know you possessed me and you made me kill a bunch of people and you're trying to take over my body and take my kids. I feel that pain, yo. Nah.
What?
Nah, dog. You don't feel that pain.
Wasn't it her reaction to the kids though that pushed her over the edge, or was it the convo with the other Wanda?
No, it was the kids. The kids
were like,
"Get
fuck
out of
off.
here, you suck."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so
I think they were trying to do that with that. I agree. Vision should have been in this film, but working with what we have, he wasn't. So I think they went the kid route because those kids are pretty cheap compared to Paul Bettany, I imagine.
Cheap? Wow. To answer your question,
they probably are a little cheap.
Balvin says they were watching Snow White. Like, that's what was on
those kids would 100% saw the fucking portal. No.
Absolutely.
And then Wanda might hate them kids. I don't know. Making them watch Snow White, I might agree. Of the class,
I'm letting you know. They were not watching shit. They were looking straight down. And when the camera pans back behind the two of them walking through the star, they then look up. So those kids chose to ignore that shit.
I thought they were on the couch with Wanda with them being like, I thought that's what that scene was.
No, Wanda was like not on the couch. The kids were on the couch sitting there looking down, and then again, it's just cinematography. It has nothing to do with like, oh, it was a terrible
Story and
scene.
all that stuff.
But it literally is like one of those moments where, as someone who edits for a living, I'm like, not the clip I would have used. Like I can't pull myself away from that.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I'm like, that looks like an editing flub. Yeah.
Well, hey, anything else?
Did y'all like this movie?
Yeah, I loved it. I didn't have any of the issues you guys had with it, so I was super on board the entire time.
I thought it was
super fun. Yeah.
Here's the thing: would I watch this movie as much as Doctor Strange 1? No.
Oh,
I will sit down and watch Doctor Strange, the first one, all day. This one I may never watch again.
I'm the opposite. I did think after reading the reviews that this movie was going to be super divisive. But not for the reasons that you're bringing up. The reasons that we dislike it are totally different from what a lot of people just don't like what Sam Raimi did. And I get that because he's, he does what he does.
Love Sam Raimi.
Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of people are having issues with the film. But I thought it was super fun. I thought it was one of the most unique Marvel movies that we've seen, just from like, not only content, but like, the way that it's shot is so different from so much other stuff. And I hope they keep doing that rather than like, I don't want to say like cookie cutter, but like following the same formula is will get boring after a while. So if they keep going for, actors with a definitive style and flair, kind of like what Sam Raimi has, which is a perfect fit for Doctor Strange. If they can somehow find directors that, like John Watts, perfect fit for Spider-Man. I think if they continue down that path and find, and Taika, perfect fit for Thor, or what the new Thor is, I guess. They continue to do that with their superheroes, then I'm super on board for that. Keep them all, different from one another in tone and the way that they're shot and all that. And I think it only furthers Bron's feelings with it being segmented, right? So like, you've got the space cosmic stuff, which is kind of like lighthearted, comic-y, jokey, with the emotional moments like Guardians and like Thor have. And then you've got like the Doctor Strange stuff, which is a straight up fucking scary movie to a lot of people, with jump scares and all that, and wild, weird shit with Danny Elfman scoring the music, which I thought he did a fantastic job, because I just kept thinking about roided out Danny Elfman with no shirt and like tattoos performing at Coachella the entire time the music was on in this. I am curious where we see America Chavez go. She's a crucial part to, I think, the MCU moving forward. I really wonder what she does next. And credit to her she was like 14/15 when this was shot, and she was an incredible actor.
She was great. She was without a doubt the standout from this entire film. Like I agree,
hands down.
There's a lot to love in this movie, and this is the problem. Like I said, there's so many great things in this movie, but the stuff that I didn't like, I really disliked. And it just comes down to things that I have hard lines in the sand when it comes to storytelling, and it's got to make sense to me. And if it doesn't make sense, I'm not going to be like, well, all right, I'll let it slide. Like I can't do it. I can't do it. So I'm not gonna. I might never. It was fun, but I might never watch this one again. This might be where Eternals is for me. Not on the list of like best films, but on the like, I'm not. I saw it once, and I'm not gonna watch it again.
Well, we're not doing it today, but I guess next episode we got to rank this thing. So that's going to be a longer, harder conversation.
I think for me,
in our rankings, but yeah.
I'm crazy biased because it's Doctor Strange, so I was gonna probably like it no matter what.
Sure.
Oh gosh, I do like this one more than Doctor Strange 1, and I can't definitively say why. I do think some of it is because there was just some unabashed fan servicey moments in there that I could not
Doctor Strange-esque moments
get over. Yes, there was some truly Doctor Strange doing his thing type of thing that I fucking live and die for, I almost wish we had more of that. Like when he put Wanda in the mirror dimension, I wanted to scream when he's just like, when she's like,
yeah, that
he's
was
like,
cool.
I'm not gonna let you through. And he's like, boom. And she's like, what the? And she figures out her own way to pierce through using reflections. But like, I thought that was so cool. Like that entire moment.
Mhm.
I live for that. Like, the
It was
entire
weird. It was
concept
cool.
of, yeah, I know that, like, the old comics have a lot of negative connotations because of Orientalism and stuff like that, and I get it, but it's also the closest thing we've ever had to, like, Eastern, like, faith and spirituality being cool. This is the only superhero that astral projects, and that's something that, like, we believe. This is the only superhero that meditates, you know?
Yeah.
This is like, so those things, like, do mean a lot to me, and seeing him do his thing will never not be cool. It had some of the most visually stunning things I've ever seen in an MCU film. Like, even just them going through multiverses, like, it was just eye candy, and seeing, like, the end of the world, that was so
Yeah.
amazing. Like, the end of
Dude, that window
incursion,
thing was sick with the giant
it was
spiral. It was
so
so cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, that staircase going up, like,
Oh, with
it's
the
such a
water below it? Yeah, that was awesome.
yeah, it's such a different movie that had, like, really cool parts of it. And it doesn't have the problem that Eternals has for me, which is, like, horrible pacing. I do think despite the glaring plot holes, the pacing of the movie was really good. If something annoyed me, I feel like we moved on from it pretty damn quickly onto the next thing. It didn't feel like we hung on something for too long, and the moments that I didn't care for were very quickly replaced by moments that I did like quite a bit. Um so that kinda makes up for it for me. So overall, I did like it. Actually loved it. Um, but never thought I'd say this. Never, ever thought I'd say this. I still think Spider-Man was better. And that I never thought in my life that I would think Spider-Man: No Way Home is better than Multiverse of Madness, but it was, because the plot line made more consistent sense all the way through versus this.
Yeah.
To the point that
Sure.
I thought Wanda was going to call out Doctor Strange on his disgusting manipulation of the multiverse, but actually what she calls him out on is what does she
She
say?
says the like taking over the door dreaming or whatever it's called that she was doing. I forgot the term that they keep using. It becomes a
No,
term
at the
they use throughout.
beginning. At the beginning, she says somehow, or when I do that, it's not fair.
Oh, the line from the trailer.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I thought that that was in reference to him trying to set Peter Parker's life right,
Yeah, I
but
think
it's
it was
actually
he
not.
fucks with the multiverse, right? Or he fucks with
I'm trying
like
to
the natural law of things is what she's saying, I think.
I mean, all he had look, never mind. All he had to do was just say, "My literal best friend is trying to kill me because of it." So, like, calm down. But whatever,
Wait, who's that?
whatever.
Who do you mean?
Well, the dude that he went, Mordo, is literally out to get
Mordo,
him.
yeah.
She's like, "Yo, you're the hero," and he's like, "Yeah." And this
Yeah,
dude that I trusted and my best bud is out to kill me because of it.
it is
Like,
kind of
it's
fucked
more complicated
after
than that.
all the setup that
Oh,
they did in the first movie. He just becomes a different
Hawkeye.
Mordo. That's kind of fucked.
Hawkeye reminded me. She's actually referencing him giving Thanos the time stone at that time, isn't she? Where she says, "When I break the rules, I become the enemy. When you do it, you get put on a lunchbox." Like, she's specifically talking about,
Sure, yeah. I think that's right.
she's not referring to the Spider-Man thing at all. In fact, I don't even think she knows about it,
I don't think any of them know about it. Yeah.
which to me, that was wild. I
Well,
was
no,
like,
they know about it, but they there's a throwaway joke of him like having webs come out of his butt or whatever. That was really, they're
"Oh,
talking to
that's when
America
he's talking
Chavez
to
is what it was.
America."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
This was hilarious. Her entire she's like, "Ew," because he, like, looked like a spider or whatever. That's so funny.
yeah.
But, yeah, what she's mad at him for is not at all, like, him trying to undo Peter Parker's life. That would have made more sense. She's mad at him for the events of Endgame,
Right. Yeah. The time stone stuff. Which like
which is
he is a little bit
we
hypocritical. Like
No, he's not.
He goes against the natural law and everything that he's supposed to, but he's going against other people for that.
No, this is insane.
That's what the Illuminati was saying.
No, I'm saying
he went and did the Darkhold because of his own arrogance, and they had to kill him for it.
Dr. Stephen Strange, Bronze is totally right in that he's a hero. And here's the thing. The time Strange has done things that have gone against the natural law.
Are we talking about
bad or whatever?
616 Strange or just Strange?
I'm talking about
616, I think.
Our Strange, but also it could apply to many Stranges. Everything they're doing is like even 842 or Sixter, whatever the hell.
You gotta get
that guy did everything he did to save the universe as well. So no matter what, everything Strange has done, our Strange or this other Strange or whatever, even Strange that was like, give me your powers, we're doing it to save the universe. And Wanda took over a town and like mind controlled people to make herself feel good.
Oh, it was for her own. Yeah, 100%.
Her being like,
I'll never understand.
You get on a lunchbox and everyone treats me like a bad guy. Lady, you've only ever been a bad guy.
Yeah, it's really weird because a lot of people say, oh, well, Strange is a hypocrite. And I've never understood it because I feel like, if anything, like he has sort of learned something from the Ancient One that some other Stranges haven't even learned, which is that everything happens for a reason. Like, every mistake, every good thing, every bad thing, everything happens. Maybe even him giving the time stone causing Wanda to go mad was maybe that was deigned to be the right thing, because now the Darkhold in every multiverse is destroyed, and maybe that wouldn't have happened if she hadn't lost her shit. Like, I think even at the end, he kind of alludes to or he doesn't even kind of, he says it straight up. He's like, America, you never messed up. Yeah, like every single, and I think he's thinking to himself, like every other Strange made the mistakes they made so that he wouldn't. Almost kind of like in Lord of the Rings style. Like they all tried to not all, but he tried to kill her, and that mistake is the one that Strange has to avoid. This other one used the Darkhold and created an incursion and then had himself killed, but like that opened the door for them to also have like the book of the Vishanti there. And like, I don't know, it's just interesting because it's like that Strange being more powerful enabled this Strange to prevent the entire multiverse from collapsing. So even their mistakes are worth it. Like even when they make a mistake,
it's worth it for 616. 838's fucked.
But the Ancient, like
they got fucked.
Like literally, the whole point of Doctor Strange is it's not about you. The Ancient One tells him that. Like that's the like going in from that moment at the end of the first Doctor Strange movie. That's the moment of realization for him. Wanda it's all about me.
100%.
And I cannot suffer the idea that she's like, I like goof up and I'm not on a lunchbox. Like, lady, goof? You are like the first time we met you spent half a movie trying to kill the Avengers. Then they gracefully allowed you to like be chill. Then you blew up an office building, and then like everything you do is a mess. And you're like, I don't understand why I'm not a hero. I'm like, oh my god. I hope those rocks crushed her and we never see her again.
She's coming
back. What I loved though, even the bad version of Strange, like the Sorcerer Supreme that tries to kill America.
Mm-hmm. Defender Strange, I think is who that is.
Yeah, Defender. When she makes the portal with his dying action, he cuts off the tentacles of the thing and saves her. Like they make it super clear he does not want to kill her. There's no part of him that wants to kill her.
Right.
It's like sheer desperation out of trying to keep her from the clutches of the Scarlet Witch. And in that regard, as clinically cruel and evil as it might sound, he's actually right. Because if he doesn't kill her, the Scarlet Witch is going to kill her anyway.
Well,
like, that's going to happen.
The demon's going to, he didn't know that it was Scarlet Witch, but yeah.
Right. But like the demon's going to kill her and take her power either way.
Right.
So it's either he kills her or the demon kills her. So like, even though that sounds cold, it's very clinical, but that mistake, when we think about it, she even says it. America says, I'm happy that it's your universe I landed in. It's your multiverse I landed in. It puts her in Stephen Strange's universe, and it puts his corpse in 616's universe, and that is what allows Doctor Strange to dreamwalk. Like, even that mistake happens so that he can do what needs to be done. He might not have known that at the moment, but, like, the Ancient One is right. Like, if his corpse wasn't on 616, like, America would have died.
Yeah.
Him trying to kill her and him dying in the process and his corpse ending up there is why Doctor Strange can save her.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't technically wrong. Like, none of the Stranges, even the evil ones, are technically wrong. They all, like, serve their purpose to the greater cosmic balance and then move on.
Again, the Strange bits, amazing.
Amazing.
If someone could just make for me an edit where they just remove every mention of Wanda, I would want to see what that movie. It might stand up on its own. They might be like, he shows up and he fights the demons and he's like, I'm here to save you, America. And the demons are like, oh.
I can solve what you guys are saying where people won't hate you for what you're saying. Here it is. You want a villain that's crazy, that's the Joker, not a villain that's crazy because she's crazy.
No.
Yes.
I don't think that's what we're saying at all.
Yes, you want a crazy that's understandable so that you could see yourself as part of a villain so it doesn't look crazy. She's just crazy because of the trauma of her kids. That's all the movie was saying.
No, that's not what we're saying at all.
I'm pretty sure that's what you're saying. Again, I'm giving you guys an out so people don't hate you. Because everyone's agreeing with me in chat with what I'm saying you guys are saying. So just take this out and you guys could live hate-free. That's all I'm saying.
They've hated me since day one. I'm
not saying anything that is worth hating.
Yeah.
I'm not. I think that the Wanda storyline wasn't very good. And it didn't make any sense to me. And I sat through the entire movie upset that Vision didn't show up and that for some reason they were going to use WandaVision as part of the story but not address the key fundamentals of what WandaVision was about. Look, there's a lot that's wrong with it. But I'm not over here like, you know what actor I hate? No, I'm not saying that shit.
Well,
there's no
I didn't
reason
say that either.
No, but I'm saying, like, if I was that guy, if I was like, here's what I think is wrong with Hollywood and Disney, I haven't said any of that.
I didn't say
All I said was, this one thing in this movie was bad. That's it. And if you hate me for that, then, like, all right, it's chill.
I wanted her to be Joker. I said, I wish they had, like, chosen one of the two, that either the Darkhold has made her lose all of her senses and that's why this is happening, but, like, because otherwise, her character growth from WandaVision is, like, negated here, and the writing from the beginning of the film to the end is inconsistent, because in the beginning, she keeps talking about her husband, but then her motivations are her kids, and that to me just didn't jive. Like, at some point, you would think she would choose a universe where her kids, like, where there is, and even at the end, if she was as obsessed as she was, like, America Chavez opening up so that one set of her kids saw her, that she showed there's, like, a million other multiverses where her kids exist. She could just as easily go to another one and still exact
there could be other kids. There could be other kids there.
Yeah, if the Darkhold really had her, like, that mixed up, she'd been like, "Okay, this is just one reality. Boom. All right, open another one." Like, there was, like, she showed there was, like, 18 million versions of her kids. That was just one copy of her kids that were afraid of her.
Well done story when it comes to Wanda's story arc. It wasn't well done. Strange was great.
That was a glaring plot hole. I definitely, like, Jesse kinda made that scene even worse where I was like, "Well, I just assumed it was Vision." Like, and that's who the kid's dad was, but you're right. Like, they never allude that it's him. Like, and like I said, I thought in that final scene when America opened the portal that it was gonna be him there being like, "Ugh." And it wasn't. So, like, that is a bit strange that she was more attached to, um, these figments of her imagination that she was with for a few days than her husband that she was with a lot longer. Because those kids aged at an accelerated rate. So she really was I think I don't remember the timeline of WandaVision, but I do believe she was only with them for, like, a handful of days.
it apparently took over, like, it was 6 or 7 days total. Was it 'cause they're and the reason why I know that is because they had to justify people being stuck at home and being able to live. Like, some kids were stuck up in their rooms for a week. I think it was 6 days total, I think is how
Yeah,
long it
they
took.
say they do say, like, because they haven't been eating and drinking,
Mhm.
right?
Like,
Right?
or they've been
They're
stuck
like
in their homes.
yeah,
So they, like, have
they
been
can't
only
leave and they
they
can't sleep.
Mhm. And no matter look, all I'm saying is, you can hate me, y'all, but I stand firm in my beliefs on this one. I've never been more firm in my beliefs. Like I can't do it. This one, it got me, and it's not a knock against like anything except it's one movie. So deal with it.
We'll agree to disagree. At least till next
I
week
do
when we
think
got to
her
rate this
powers were
movie.
cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
I
thought her powers were. I
I
thought
do
this
think her
was.
powers are cool.
I think
I
all the
think they did
magic
a
was
good
sick.
job of making her creepy as shit, like, coming out of the window all
Oh
broken and,
yeah.
like, dragging her leg behind her and, like, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
She was, like, basically a zombie towards the end, it was kind of
We
amazing.
never got. Everyone thought there was going to be the zombie Wanda versus zombie Strange because of the trailers. We never got that. It was never a thing from the What If stuff. I wonder if that got cut from like additional footage or if that in the trailers. I wonder even what that was. I guess the one shot of Strange was with all the ghosts or whatever, and he was a zombie essentially, but it wasn't the What If zombie. But we never saw the Wanda zombie from What If. Anyways,
I'm not sure if this was, like, directly a what if reference, though. I think, like,
yeah,
they
I don't
showed
know. I don't
us
know if there is a What
yeah.
If at all. I guess Peggy Carter was the What If reference, but
Yeah, but the Peggy Carter, you can actually fill in from the blank,
yeah,
if that makes sense. Like,
I
you
don't know
can
if that's
assume,
her.
"Oh, in this version, Peggy Carter, ended up taking the super soldier serum,
Yeah,
and Monica Rambeau became Captain Marvel." Interesting.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I don't.
That
I don't think
that
that
was
was
the
What
other
If
part
Peggy
that was
Carter.
a little weird to me, is that the statue killed I don't know if that bothered anyone else, that the statue killed Captain Marvel. I was like,
Yeah,
"It's
when it
Captain
fell on
Marvel."
her.
She went through Thanos' spaceship. She she, like
Oh, oh,
didn't she, like,
when
go
it
through
killed Captain Marvel, right? I thought that fell on
yeah.
Captain America.
Yo,
Yeah,
that shit was wild to me. I was like, "Yo, this bitch went through a spaceship." Like, and a statue killed her? A stone like, that's Captain Marvel.
yeah. I don't have anything for
I
that.
can see a lot of things killing her, like, but I didn't think a statue I was like, "Yo, this bitch went through a spaceship with her head."
Oh, Wanda apparently took her power. I guess I didn't. I don't remember that. Did she?
No, I remember her mass disintegrating and stuff, like
She drained her. Oh, she does like cast chaos magic or something when they're doing the fucking Harry Potter beams, right? And then she like overtakes her by throwing the red chaos magic bullshit at her. Is that her draining her power?
I
I
don't
guess
know.
I
Her
I've
powers
only
are
seen the movie
never
once.
explained.
Yeah.
Like, it's yeah, we know she can affect reality. I don't know, apparently she's, rogue now too. I don't know. I saw her mask coming apart and stuff. Like, I knew something was happening, but I didn't know
Yeah.
what it was. It did that scene felt weird to me. The rest of them made sense, like, because like, she's affecting reality, so she's just like, "Okay, you get unraveled, your mouth doesn't exist." Like, so that part made sense to me. I'm shocked she didn't, like, make the shield disappear or something.
She cut her in half. I thought that was a little bit better. You're right,
Yeah, but it was
but
like yeah, it was like like I said, her power to me is, like was a bit like, I don't know if she siphoned someone's power away.
yeah, I don't either. They didn't. They just basically call her all powerful at that point, and then she kind of does what she does. So I think that's Doctor Strange.
Guys, I have a
Uh oh.
question.
Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh.
Remember that time Drax and Mantis were killed by Thanos, but then the next scene they weren't killed by Thanos?
Is the reality stone?
Yeah, and then Wanda's made of reality stone juice.
Uh-huh.
And so she killed all those people. Did she really kill all those people?
Oh man,
when she left, did they go back to normal?
Now we're getting into it.
That might be true. I always thought that what was really weird, this is just me. There's like a scene where Wanda finally comes back to herself. And she's like, I'm back. Her leg's like broken or whatever. And then she's like, my boys. And I was like, girl, you just killed all your friends.
Oh, is this when she's in the temple?
No, when they're getting the Book of the Vishanti. She like flies back up into the tunnel and she's like, the boys.
Oh
and
yeah, no, that scene was weird.
Is she not gonna process?
Yeah.
I was like, is she not gonna process that she killed? Did you see Professor X being like,
that was a weird scene.
Get out from under that rubble, and it's like it's clear that they're her friends, if that makes sense. You know, it's clear that they like know who she is, and that's maybe why they don't want to kill her, right? The scene where you're like, yeah, Jasmine, they're supposed to just kill her right at the gate. That's movie magic. No, I understand why he's like, listen, you don't want to do this. I assume it's because it's like, listen, that body you're hijacking, she's our friend, and she shouldn't die because you're a bit, you know?
Could be, yeah.
But like that Wanda comes back and she's just like, my boys, and I'm like,
that was really silly. I don't know. I don't even know why they included that, only to show that she got back from there, I guess, so they could do the final scene.
Yes.
That's the only thing
they wanted to show that she goes back home. They wanted to show that she goes back home so that she could be there when the portal opens.
Yeah, that's all I could think of.
That's not normal human reaction.
She doesn't even.
That's not.
Well, the book
not a
wasn't there
normal
anymore,
reaction.
but she definitely just like, well, this is fucking weird.
It was
like
so awkward. She's like, my boys. She flies up into that tunnel, and I'm like, your boys, girl, you just killed the event, like all the Illuminati, all the Avengers, like.
Did she bring them back? What are the rules?
I don't know.
Well, she's not the Scarlet Witch, so no. Only Scarlet Witch could do that. She's just Wanda Maximoff.
Like, what are the stone rules?
She's not
Why did Drax and Mantis come back to life, yo? Drax and Mantis one of them got accordioned. The other one got turned to like stone blocks and fell apart.
Here's why. It didn't show their heads popping. That's why. They just turned into accordions.
It's like
but Jesse,
face fell off.
Jesse, Mr. Fantastic's head goes poop.
If you go too far down that rabbit hole, Jesse, there's no point to this, right?
Because that's correct.
Here's the thing. We know that from Loki, we know that if Infinity Stones don't work outside their timeline, so by that logic, Wanda's powers shouldn't even work when she's in.
Oh my God. Bronze, no!
I'm not what? Where did I lie? No! Where did I lie?
Well,
like her powers come from the stone.
No, her powers come from chaos magic because she's the Nexus being the Scarlet Witch.
I don't know. Y'all were just saying that's why she can manipulate reality. That's you. It's you that pointed out JP. You're like, well, she can change reality, like making Black Bolt's mouth go away because she came from, like she's been exposed to stone.
I think she can only do that because she's Scarlet Witch, because she's chaos magic. Chaos magic's crazy. I don't think chaos magic is related to the Reality Stone. I think she got her powers originally from the Reality Stone, but then she got chaos magic, which is the strongest form of magic. God, I sound like a fucking nerd right now, according to Agatha from WandaVision.
It's just weird because she doesn't cast, like her spells, she doesn't cast hexes. Like they show her specifically using hexes. And in fact, they even show the hexes on the beings that she's enchanting to go after America.
Yeah.
In the rest of the movie, they don't show the hexes.
Yeah.
So I guess she could do that both. That part, I was like, if we're going based off of, well, the Reality Stone, is that undone, Jesse? I mean, theoretically, she wouldn't even be able to do that because it's at the wrong timeline.
Yeah. So if she was born with chaos magic, which I think is what they state explicitly, then that was all chaos magic and nothing to do with the Reality Stone. Which means that, yeah, they definitely did die. Jesse, they had their heads popped.
I mean, I'm fine with it. Like, it's fine.
I'm just bringing you back in terms of this all was not part of the reality stone. It had to do with her chaos magic.
I mean, if we really want to get into the reads with this, I mean, her occupying the sentience of a non-Scarlet Witch, how is she then able to use Scarlet Witch powers? Is it knowledge-based? And in that case, if it is knowledge-based, does the other Wanda now have that meta-knowledge, having occupied the same sentience?
No, because there's only one Scarlet Witch. So she's dead. So maybe there's another? I don't know. She's, quote, dead. I don't know.
I'm just trying to piece it together. There's, the reality stone wouldn't have come into effect.
Yeah.
Right? Because
I mean, there's a lot of stuff too. Like, are mutants now a part of the MCU? Because the 838's got some mutants.
by any other name. He
also,
literally
what is America Chavez?
This is
she a mutant?
He literally says she's an alien, I think, in this.
She is. Is she an alien?
She is. She's an alien. He says, this is Black Bolt, the keeper of the Terrigen Mist. So, like, by that logic, Inhumans are real. And mutants are real. I think it's just like, do we need to get into the reads of what we're calling these characters? Because it's clear that Kamala Khan is not an Inhuman, even though Black Bolt is the keeper of the Terrigen Mist.
Look, Marvel's gonna.
So I think they're just gonna make it convenient, Like, they might have mutants and just not call them mutants. Especially with bringing in
a different universe, though. It's like,
yeah.
Like,
it is a different universe. There might not be Terrigen Mist on 616.
I mean, my biggest fear, and again, I'm ready for mutants, but my biggest fear is that they're going to do the Marvel thing they've done so far, which is they gave us Professor X.
Oh,
there's your mutant. No mutants for a while. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, we're gonna do a Quicksilver. It was Ralph. Like that kind of shit, where they give you a thing, and then they don't actually give you the thing. They just like, oh yeah, here's your Reed Richards. But that's not who we're going to cast as Reed Richards, like that kind of thing. Where they like give fans a bone, but then like, do the cruel trick of like, and they throw it, but they actually just like don't actually throw it. That's how I feel a lot of the time with Marvel movies.
I think that's true, because I mean, that's kind of true of how they've handled Wanda in general. Like, they've said she has her powers from everything other than a mutation.
Yeah, she was born with chaos magic. Yeah.
Literally, they have said that she's everything other than a mutant. And for the longest time, that was because of the copyright issue.
Yeah,
but now they even have. Yeah. Now they even have like the rights to Professor X, and thereby, extension, Magneto, Wanda, her kids are mutants, she's a mutant. They still don't say that. Like, I think if they were gonna try to do more references, like Professor X would have even made a reference to Wanda being a mutant.
Yeah. I mean, they refer to her as a witch. I guess that's his classification, null, to make up the word as they get, right? Oh, yeah, Wanda's a witch.
They came the closest they've ever came to saying the B word in the MCU in this movie.
Bitch? What word?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Dr.
they
Strange
did.
says it. He goes, you son of a... Yeah.
He says, you beat that. What does he say? He's like, I know you can beat that witch. Or something like that. He says something like that, and he's like, tells America to go punch her.
I thought, wasn't there something else where he like says he says blah 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 but, and then as he says but, it like kills him or something? Am I misremembering that? Maybe it wasn't Doctor Strange. I don't know. I'm reading about America Chavez, by the way, because I wanted to see if she was a mutant. You guys ready for this shit?
Is she?
America Chavez believed she was raised by her mothers in the utopian parallel, a reality that is out of time and in the presence of the being known as the demiurge, whose presence she credited with imbuing her with superpowers. In her memory, when Chavez was approximately 6 years old, the utopian parallel was threatened by destruction. Chavez's mothers sacrificed themselves to seal the black holes, resulting in their particles being smeared across the multiverse itself. Wanting to prove herself as a hero and knowing Utopia didn't require salvation, Chavez ran away from her home and her responsibilities. She traveled across different realities, eventually adopting the moniker of Miss America and began covertly acting as a superhero. So they played a little fast and loose with the.
100% they do.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so I believe in the comics that I remember, the reason that she speaks Spanish is because, like, she lives with, a Spanish-speaking family in New York. In this one, they're like, "These aliens speak Spanish." So
I
they
will
do play
say
it loose, but that's also her recollection. Who knows if like, they don't come up
the
with the
sto
fake alien language.
the story that
Yeah.
you read sucks compared to the story that we got. I think what we got
Yeah,
in this
this
movie
one's better.
is much better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Now, I've read the America Chavez comics, chat. Some of them are really bad. Some of them are not so bad. Some of them are like the one that I always rag on and I always joke about on I mentioned on MCU Crew
I think
before the
we talked about this.
Holy Menstruation, Oh
Yeah.
My Ovaries. That's an America comic. And the way it's written is very much like it's not like just normal queer fiction, which I love. Big fan. It's like the kind where they're trying to get cookies for it. So,
Right.
it'll be like they explain to you what's happening, like, "Holy smokes, these 2 women came down and punched a villain, and now they're making out. Where do I sign up?" And it's like, they have to, like, explain to you what's happening, you know? Like, "Wait, you have 2 gay moms and you're gay and you're a superhero?
It's just like
Wow, I
early
never thought."
2000s or 24
Yes, yes.
2010s.
And you're just like, "Okay, but we can see that." We don't need you to explain to us that
Yeah.
America is gay with 2 gay moms, like, we can see that. But the comic's like, "Don't you like this representation? Hello, you, queer Indian girl reading this comic. See how we've given you what you wanted?" And I'm like, this is not good writing. I can see like, they explain to you how you should feel."
Sure.
So, Mockingbird suffered from this, and the America comic suffered from this greatly. Um I don't know if they've gotten better. I've liked her crossovers. I think it was with A-Force that I really liked it,
Yeah, she's in a bunch
but
of team up stuff.
a lot
Teen
of her
Brigade,
runs
A Force,
were not good, but I
Ultimates.
liked her A-Force run. Her A-Force run was really cool.
Yeah, Young Avengers. Kind of also sucks. Like, I guess if the kids are gone from 616, then that means that there's no Wiccan and there's no whatever the other kid's name was. So they kind of got rid of like the quote unquote only mutants that we know of,
Mephisto.
right? Like no more mutants. So
Mephisto.
also she can I'm looking at her power. She has the power of flight. I didn't know that.
I don't know that we're gonna get that.
Yeah.
There's some really
Out of
cool
nowhere.
probably from Doctor Strange stuff because they showed her learning magic now.
Yeah, I was very surprised to see that when she was practicing the ring at the
Oh,
end
you're
of the
totally right. I
episode.
forgot about that.
Yeah, she was doing the ring.
She's
stuff.
literally sorcering.
Hanging out at Comertage, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense for her. Like, she should probably take some time to understand the balance of the multiverse because she's the person that can do the most damage to it.
I want to see a full film in the paint world. That's what I want. I just want to go to paint universe. See what that looks
Honest
like.
to God, can I be real? I thought that's what this movie was gonna be.
Is them
I
hopping
thought we were
between
gonna
universes?
see like hopping between universes with America Chavez, and it's Doctor Strange having to deal with this damn kid, and like there,
Cause
I
problems,
thought we were
yeah.
gonna get like multiple weird things because it was the Multiverse of Madness, but like it was like
It was like two three universes.
like three-ish universes.
Yeah, we went through a bunch.
No.
And then we got 3 big ones.
I gotta say, I know that they fucked around with Kamala Khan's powers because I think maybe they thought it would look super goofy or whatever, and it didn't look I didn't like the way the graphics looked in the trailer. I was afraid coming into this that, like, because she has, like, these star punches and open star portals, I was like, "Is this gonna look dumb?" But for some reason, to me, it didn't.
It
Like,
didn't
when she's
look dumb.
punching Wanda in the face with the star fists, I loved it. I was like, "America!"
Yes. I've thought about that a lot, and I haven't brought it up, but like, she is making stars appear that are multi-dimensional portals, and her name is America Chavez. Someone out there's gonna be like, yo, this is movies. Fuck, they don't even care about the issues that you guys have with Wanda. This is fucking stupid. This girl's punching
I kind of took it as like she has a giant star on her jacket, and that because it's her power, that's what she like manifests it as.
Yeah.
Is a star. Her jacket was so cute. It had a little pride pin, and then it had like a love is love written in Spanish on it. It was so that's what I mean by like cute little things.
Yeah.
Versus like, and she's gay, which is what the original comic did a lot of. I like that they just are like, if you're looking for it, you know.
This is not
like,
related to any actual news or anything. On IMDb and the parental suggestions, someone edited in that while she has two moms, there's no affectionate relationship between the two of them. And like that was a parental guidance. And so people are like really upset that someone.
We can't have those two moms actually be in love. Come on.
It was really stupid. I
know that the film has been having some issues. I think it was in Saudi Arabia. It was in the news that
in China
they had been asked. Yeah, they had been asked to remove the scene with the two moms, and I believe to remove the dialogue where America talks about it.
Yep. Banned in China and Saudi Arabia.
Marvel said no. Which that's kind of cool that they stuck to their guns on that. Because I believe with Eternals, they caved and removed the two men kissing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. I think they did.
I do believe they caved and they took that scene out. But in this one.
Isn't Spider-Man also banned in China? For something. There's something in there. I think they also wouldn't cave to that, whatever it was. It was the statue. It was the Statue of America. That's what it was. They told China didn't want it in the movie. And they said nope.
The Statue of Liberty?
Yeah. Sorry, Statue of Liberty, not Statue of America. Yeah. Because remember,
it's got the Statue of Liberty in the movie.
Freedom, man. You know, I don't know.
There's a character named Captain America.
Brian, what are you talking about?
No, they edited that.
That's Shield guy. Every time he shows up,
it's me.
Shield man.
Shield guy. Captain Shield guy. Yeah, it was a weird edit, but no one caught on to it. So yeah.
It's weird. Shield girl, Shield guy. It's my favorite superhero.
Shield girl, Shield guy.
Yeah. All right, it's 2 a.m. I got to get on a plane in like 5 hours. I haven't even packed yet, so we got to wrap it up. That's it. Maybe about 4 hours. That's what I expected for this. It's about where I went in. Next week, not Monday.
Watch this.
We'll see. I bet you a lot of people are going to watch it. There's no show this Monday, the 9th, but the 16th, we will be back. We'll be ranking Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness on the show. So you can come back for that. We need to do some more ranking business. Because we got to rank the Disney Plus shows. I think there's been enough out. We haven't done that yet.
I also don't think we ranked Spider-Man.
No, we did. That's number 1 on the list. We ranked that.
Oh, we did rank it?
We put it at number 1 across the board. Yeah. But we have a chance to revisit that. If you want to, if something needs to change and you think for some reason Eternals is number 1, hey, we can do it. We can do it.
What if, you know what? What if 10 years from now, I have to make an apology video called like, why Eternals was the greatest movie ever made in Marvel history.
They're going to Age of Ultron it?
So very wrong. Yeah, what if it becomes the most fundamental, important film it's the Age of Ultron of the next 10 years, where it's so important, and you may hate it, but like that movie, it matters. I might lose.
But wait.
Could happen.
Age of Ultron is important, and we still ranked it in the gutter because we didn't like it. So
that's
I don't know if we're going to be apologizing.
Where's it at? Age of Ultron is
pretty low.
I'm just saying.
It's pretty low.
If in the future I have to make an
It's
apology
11.
video,
11 of 27. That's pretty high.
that's not pretty low. That's right in the middle.
Yeah.
Really?
All
We
I'm
put
saying
it at
is,
11?
Yeah.
all I'm saying is,
I did some work.
if I have to make that video, I'm gonna do it with my head held high. I'll be like, I was wrong. Sue me. Wanda turned out to be very important. Those kids, very important to the future of the franchise. They were Young Avengers. I was wrong. What a fool I am. I'll gladly do it. But
there's gonna be a scene in Young Avengers, and they're gonna go up to Wiccan and be like, "Hey, how are you born?" "Well, my mom just imagined me, and now I'm a kid." I'm just gonna be like, "I told you,
I'm
Jesse."
a real boy.
And I would be like,
I told you.
They
I'm
they
a real
explained it.
boy.
It's right there. Yeah.
Right? That's in the movie. I'm like, wow, Feige don't miss. Yeah, I'm
Look,
like, damn.
You know what's crazy to
this
me
is so
is
good.
nowhere in this movie do they talk about a man coming out of the ocean.
Here's the realest of reals. Okay, we started this a year, maybe 2 years ago. Okay, and we introduced Jesse to Blackagar Boltigan. This motherfucker showed up in a movie, and the only reason that Jesse knew who he was is because of this fucking podcast. So
here's the thing: watching him be terrible on film was perfect. That scene was great.
You know
I was
what
like, that guy does
so
suck.
good?
I was right. He does
I
suck.
still can't believe they killed that motherfucker.
What was so good is Jesse not being able to get over his name, and then Doctor Strange not
Making a
being able
joke.
to get. This is a sorcerer supreme. This man
He-
has cosmic knowledge, and he was like, "Heidegar there again," or whatever he said.
He said, "What? What was your name?" Yeah.
He was like speaking gibberish.
Look, we fought Jesse on his name, and you gotta respect the name. But those two girls next to me, they laughed like a motherfucker.
They were right.
And so it was full circle for
Bolt
me.
is named Blackagar Bolt again.
It was full circle
terrible.
for you. Yeah.
Terrible.
And everyone that watched this goddamn show, that moment happened. We all had a little chuckle. We all had a little. They also were for some reason they were laughing at Patrick Stewart, and I couldn't like I didn't know what was going on. Anytime he
Who
showed,
laughs at Patrick Stewart?
yeah, anytime he showed up on screen, they just lost their shit. And I was like, what the, how you, what the fuck?
Maybe they're remembering that scene from that one comedy show where I know
These
Jesse's
people are
seen
like
this, where
14.
he's like, oh, probably not. There's that one comedy show where he's like, and then, she's just naked and I've seen everything. You know what I'm talking about, Jesse?
I haven't seen that.
No, what?
Chat, does anyone know? There's this skit
Is
comedy
this on
show.
Graham Norton?
Someone in chat will tell you. I know someone in your
Skit
chat knows the name of
comedy.
the show. Yeah, it was a skit comedy show, and he's talking extras. It's from Extras, and he's sitting there and he's talking about a movie he wants to make, and he's like, and there's this girl and she's going, and then I've seen everything. And he's like talking about seeing women naked, and he's supposed to be this great actor, but he's just a giant pervert. Jesse, I need to introduce you to Extras because it's your humor. You would die laughing.
I know.
There's another one with Ian McKellen teaching an acting workshop.
Is
And he
that
goes,
the one where
"So
John?
what I'm doing is when I'm acting, I am right now I'm Sir Ian. And I'm Sir Ian, you shall not pass. Gandalf. And then I'm Ian again. See? But I am not Sir Ian when I am doing my line." And he his acting workshop is the worst acting workshop I've ever seen in my entire life.
Is this the one with Johnny Depp and Richie Gervais, and he gets mad at him because of the Oscar jokes? It's all a skit, but is that the same show?
Might be.
Extras, I think, was way before they let him host award shows.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, it is very old. It's very
Okay.
old.
Chad did say that meme was relevant on Twitter 2 weeks ago. So you might be right. They might have saw
Maybe that's why.
that
It's
video.
the scene of him in his trailer. I will try to find the link for you. It's just the scene of him in his trailer being a creeper, talking about seeing women naked. I found the link. I'm gonna give it to you, Jesse, because this show. It's such peak Jesse humor. It's just Patrick Stewart being a creeper, which is funny because it's Patrick
I
Stewart.
think I have seen that. That's probably what they were laughing at, I bet. Oh, was that Life is Short?
Yeah,
Wow.
it
Okay.
Got it
recently trended on
immediately.
Twitter.
Yeah, might have been it. All right, let's do some shout outs. Call the show. Bronze, what do you got going on? Where can people check you out? To our audience at 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning, Sunday morning.
Hi, hello. I
Saturday
know
morning.
according to JP, you all hate me now, but I don't hate you. So, hi, I'm I'm Jasmine, that bronze girl. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me on Twitter. I just uploaded a little video of my Blood Hunt gameplay. If you want to watch me play a BR, on my YouTube channel. And yeah, right now I'm playing through Warhammer 40K Chaos Gate, having a really good time with it. I love XCOM style games, and that's me.
Cool. Jesse, do some shout outs.
Look at my eyes. They're so dry right now. I've been working all day since like 6 a.m. staring at this damn computer screen. I just want to go home and sleep. I'm still at the office. This is what I do for y'all. So before you send me a message about how wrong I am about Wanda, would Wanda do all this for you? No. She would shut your mouth and blow your brain out. So just think before you text me, or you send me some sort of DM that says how bad I suck. Just put it out there.
If you had read The Darkhold, you might be on since 6 a.m. working on the internet.
Oh my God!
I'm just saying.
Cut the stream.
If you would read The Darkhold, you might be.
Can't. They're all gone now.
That's true. They're all gone here. The MacGuffins. You know, that movie really was just a movie of MacGuffin after MacGuffin after MacGuffin. If you think about it. America Chavez was actually a MacGuffin. It was great. Do you want to see another... answer this question real quick. Yes or no? Do you want to see another Sam Raimi film in the MCU?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Easy yes.
Bronze?
Sam Raimi's great.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Give me some
He does things
stuff.
differently, you know?
Yeah. Give me some scarier stuff.
It's nice letting directors direct the way they want to direct, if that makes any sense. Like,
totally.
Sam Raimi directing a movie that didn't feel a little campy is not a Sam Raimi movie. So, like, yeah, if they're going to let people do that, great. I'm down for it. Just, try to flush out the villain more.
My crazy take of the day is I would love to see Peter Jackson direct a film in the MCU.
Perhaps a trilogy?
Have you seen some of his older stuff? He can get weird.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings from like 20 years ago. That's pretty good.
No, older than Lord of the Rings.
20 years, y'all. 20? That's blowing my mind. I can't stop thinking about that.
Well, Jesse, as you get older, time passes faster.
No, I'm done.
JP, did you know? JP,
you know what? Just hand me the Darkhold. Just hand me. I cannot have this conversation again. I cannot have this conversation again.
You gonna make our mouths? I can't blow your brains out by speaking.
The universe.
Unless I tell you about when you get older, Bronze, time
passes. Oh my fucking God. I'm telling you, to you it's a joke, JP, because you only heard that story from Jesse 3 times. But me and Jesse
I'm the one that told Jesse that comment.
Yeah, but me and Jesse used to play D&D together on Wednesdays. So he's talked about that story on MCU Crew like 3 times.
I can't stop talking about it.
I've heard it like 8 times because of freaking Sunfall Cycle.
Now, are you sure you've heard it 8 times, or are you just so old it's all one time?
Oh my God!
So you've actually only heard it like 2 or 3 times because when you get older, Bronze,
you know what?
Right.
Time actually
give y'all
passes.
The award for better trolling. I thought I was a good troll by calling.
Yeah, you're too on the nose. You're too on the nose.
I thought I was a good.
You can't just come out and call people Aryan supremacist or whatever the fuck.
I thought
that was too
much.
I
will say some head action
was
just
way
so people
too
are like,
strong.
oh my God, how could you say that? That's a crazy take.
Yeah,
like, no, it is
I'll teach you to troll, Bronze. It's okay. It's all right. You're way too strong.
This is top shelf trolling. I will say that.
Yeah. Guys, we're out of here. I gotta go pack. Then I gotta get on a plane at the airport. I'm going to ask them if they've seen Doctor Strange and what their thoughts are on Wanda tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Look for the tweets.
I want that dude to be like, not a fan. I'd be like,
why is that? Random TSA agent? What's wrong with the kids? Where'd the kids come from? They just will to exist. What's going on?
Yeah, what are those kids there?
Go ahead and spread your legs, sir. I need to get up in there. We'll see you guys next time.
You know where kids come from. Spread your legs, sir.
We're out of here. Have a good one. Bye-bye.